guys. Thanks for joining us certain things that trade schools you don't learn anymore because you don't go to college.
They're coming back. So there's a fine line, like I said, where they say
All right. What's up, everybody? Hello, everybody. Welcome to People in the Boxes, guys. It's Thursday night. Once again, Thursday night, that weekly meetup, that weekly convergence of the minds, if you will. We got it's September 7th, guys, 2023. September 7th, 1 week in now, getting a little cooler outside, a little less sun every day and all that good stuff. The ladies are in full flower, in full bloom. You know what I'm saying? So tonight, guys, we have an interesting topic, and it's mostly, again, we're not experts at these topics. The point is to share our experiences, our separate lived experiences, our individual experience on all these common topics, because then we get perspective, not prospective. Today I was looking at that. I was like, holy cow, I think maybe I've been using those things backwards. Prospective and perspective. They're different things. We might talk about that in a little bit, guys. So if you haven't yet, and if you enjoy what we do here on People in the Boxes, please hit those reactions, guys, and share us out. We are live right now on my page on GrowFam. Thank you, GrowFam. On the Rumble, on, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, all over the place, guys. We're on Maccabees Live Market as well. If you haven't yet joined my group, go ahead and do that if you guys want. I already have a couple of awesome folks hanging out with us in the back, guys. So definitely hit those reacts and share them out. Get some friends in here, guys. We've got Kim. I'll pull Kim up first. Hi, Kim.
Hey.
Oh, what do we got? A fur baby in there? I can't quite see. Your camera's angled up just a little bit too high. Although I want to see the flag, I like the flag. Oh, hi, that's okay. I saw your picture of the baby a little bit ago, or a couple days ago. You posted a picture, didn't you? No, it wasn't your cat, was it?
I post pictures of. I have 4.
Oh,
so.
It was a different cat. That's what it was.
Yeah, it was probably the orange one.
All right, we got Bean. Oh, you got a echo, bro.
Yeah, I just clicked into the video right as you pulled me out.
You're like, I know. What's up, man? Thanks for stopping by, guys. That was a last second kind of thing. I hit you with the link, so thank you very much. If you guys want to come up on screen, let me know, guys, for sure. Want to hear everybody's perspective on this, as many places in the country as possible. What's up, Little P? We got Little P in the house. We got Becca. What's up, Heather? What's up, Mr. Burns? Jimmy Mead. We got Michael Gray. What's up, Michael Gray? The big winner, guys. Big winner. He won 5 months of locals membership, and because he had won that and paid for 6 months of locals, that got him in the giveaway for the Luca Q7 Mini, which then he won. So he won and then won because he won. And so, yeah, very cool. Yeah, so hell yeah. So tonight's topic.
Was he the only one in the drawing?
No.
I was going to say.
No, there was. I mean, Valerie's been with me for 13 months on locals, so there was a bunch of people that have been there for a while, and here he comes in. I was like, oh, I got my 6 months to 6 months. So that was my stipulation on that the other day. I didn't really talk about the topic yet, guys. We're going to be talking tonight. If you didn't read the title and the description, the economy, right? The economy. It means a lot of things to us. It means so much. I actually have written down a topic for doing finance. It kind of sounds boring, right? But like we could just call it money or whatever. But economy kind of hits that in a lot of ways, right? We're going to be talking about that today. But we're also going to be talking about a little bit of like the change we've noticed over our life, like how things used to be. We a lot of times we have misconstrued thoughts about how easy things used to be compared to how difficult things are now. I remember when, nickel candy or whatever. It's like, but you were only being paid a nickel a day at that time. So like, there's a balance there that we just don't realize, like, oh, penny candy and stuff. And it's like, yeah, but you were paid like $3 a day or whatever. So
$1.25 an hour.
Yeah. So I definitely see that, because I have a friend of mine that's like, he always posts stuff about how he wishes he lived in the 80s, wishes he was back then and everything. Like he glorifies it,
How old are you?
Me? I'm 39, everybody.
So you're like right around the same age as me. Like I think we were in the golden ages of it, because like it's like as the economy started booming, but there was still like penny candy stores. You know what I mean? Like they didn't that market really didn't catch up. So like, yeah, you could get things super cheap, and there was kind of like a golden age there for a little bit, where the economy is doing all right. Everybody's working. Everybody's got some money in their pocket, and before the fucking collapse happened.
Becca, you got a bunch of different accounts. I had to find you. There we go. Anybody else want to come up and join us? I see you over on my group. I can post it in there. That's a good spot for it. Hey, thanks for linking us up, guys, on your accounts. I haven't heard from any of my co-hosts tonight. Not one out of all 3. I don't know. That's okay. Hopefully you're all out there somewhere, floating around, living your dreams.
I like that you put like side hustles in the title and stuff, because like I don't think there's many people out there that don't have a side hustle anymore. Something to scrape up a little extra money just to like for your fun income or for your fun account. You know what I mean? Like,
right. Now it's almost like you have to have the side hustle just to get by, I think.
Yeah.
And that's a big difference now. I think that's
What's up, Becca?
All right, Little P, I got you, bro.
Okay.
I can get you. What's up, Becca?
Not much over here, man.
I heard.
Hey, Becca, if you turn your phone sideways that you would see us better and we'd see you better?
I can try.
Now, I'll push back against you a little bit, Bean. I know it's not our main conversation, but I'm going to push back on that. When you turn your phone sideways, your eyes, you can't see yourself as much, because your eyes are looking at you, And so then on the screen, it looks like you're looking off like this because of how far over the camera is at that point.
I got you.
But it's not. I mean, I'm just kidding mostly because I'm not looking at the camera all the time. Like I can't do anything if I'm looking at that. I can't see anything.
Yeah, I'm never looking at the camera. I'm always looking at the screen.
But it would be cool if I got it more like centered anyway.
Yeah.
What's up, little Pete?
What's up, Pecker?
Hey, little Pecker, what's happening, bro?
I would say that you probably got a pretty good insight on the making a hustle, seeing as jobs probably aren't as wide open to you. You know what I mean? You got to find your hustle.
He was talking about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's up, Trista? You want to come up?
Yeah, I think that would
That
be
Canadian perspective. So you were talking to me about this not too long ago, little P, where how you were you guys decided to go in and make your own business and do all that because of how there was such a shortage on opportunity. You know,
Yeah.
unless you want to do the stereotypical, you know, whatever.
Well, you could do the stereotypical, but it's still hard. Like they just look down on it. They just file you as like a disability as is. So that's mainly like the only reason why they hire you.
Yeah,
for sure. I mean, it's different ability. I mean, you definitely have things that you can do that I can't.
To hire that one person that's different.
What's up, Leaf Cycle?
It to be legal in the corporate eyes or freaking whatever, how that ever works. Don't get knocked out by that microphone again, Waylon, dude.
Well, it does bounce up. It does come at me a lot.
What's up, Kat?
What's
up, Lord?
What's up, Kat?
What's up, everybody?
Val, I sent you the link. Lord Leaf Cycle, what's up, bro? Miss Purple Hippie, what's up, Purple Hippie? Leaf Cycle in the house, guys. We did a cool giveaway Tuesday where we gave somebody their his like what's it called, the deluxe grow room or grow tent package of like all the pest repellent stuff, the Leaf Cycle pouch and the stick.
That sounds interesting.
Hell yeah,
that was fun.
That's nice.
Doing well, Kat. Doing well. Can we get a Canadian perspective up here tonight on the economy? Because I think it's funny. We've had discussions before lots of times on different things, and there's a very different view from the opposing side. A lot of us think the grass is greener. Some of us think the grass is not greener, and it's really just different. You know, there's a lot of things that are different about different countries. And when you go, what? You guys do that? You're like, you're just not even used to it, you know?
I think Canada's kind of like how you ever see like when the U.S. went and visited China to talk about a developmental deal, they built these huge cities like that nobody lived in and shit.
Yeah,
so they put on a front. There was like fake food markets and shit. So they put on a front for our eyes. I think that's what Canada's doing. They're a bunch of assholes and they act like they're like, oh, sorry, that's just us.
Watch out, Bean. You're going to have Jenna come kick your ass later on.
She knows it. She's a prime example.
Hey, we got a New Zealander in here. That's cool. That's cool. Dave, I want to know, just give me some simple, let me ask you a couple simple questions from New Zealand. Do you think the economy is better or worse than it was when you were a kid? That's all. That's what I want to see from Dave. Let's see what he says. All right. We got... Let's see.
Somebody said Trista Ginger, Bergeron.
Bergeron.
I know it's French. Says, LOL, I'm snickering at Kim's cat rubbing on her chin with so much love. So this is Nina. And I heard her often. She's a very loving, affectionate cat. I call her the Velcro cat because the minute I sit down, she's like a piece of Velcro stuck to me. And she is not happy unless she is right in my face.
When you held her up, she looked like such an angry cat, like the depiction of angry cat. Like, what is that thing you're using, little
cat on freaking Austin Powers that look on its face?
What's that thing you're using, Lil P?
The Aspire wand.
What? Hi,
Hey,
Val.
y'all.
What's up, Val?
Hello.
Val.
Electrical torch.
Hey, Waylon.
Yes.
Flower or dab?
Jackson.
Go ahead.
I have to set you straight on a comment that you made in the opening comments.
Let's hear it.
So about cool weather.
Oh, you're not getting it over there yet, man. It's like shady and like gonna rain any second here, but not. It's just dark and cool weather here. I mowed my grass today with my shirt on. Even it's like wow, oh, weird.
Today it was a high of 107, and I went out to water my plants about 6:30ish, and I stuck my little meter down in there to gauge my pH. You know. I do 5-gallon buckets, so I stuck my meter in there. Guess how much? Guess what the temperature of the water was?
120.
Huh?
86 degrees.
She said, "What the hell did you say?"
After temps of 107, it was 86 degrees. No, it was 102 degrees. The water was 102.
Okay. Well, see, in my head, I'm thinking that it takes water longer to heat up and cool down. It holds temperature, but it doesn't. That usually. So I just thought it would be a bigger difference.
No.
Only a few degrees difference from the outside. That's crazy.
It's
when I stuck my hand in there to stir it, I was like, "Damn, this water's hot."
It's 93 here right now.
What's up, Steph? Charlene, I'm not sure. He had an injury today, guys, and it's none of my business to tell you guys, but got a little bump on the noggin, so we're hoping
What?
Stevo's good to go.
No.
Saw him. He's in here.
Yeah, he was in the comments a minute ago.
Steve-O, I'm going to kick your ass.
Hope you're all right, buddy.
I think he doesn't need it, Val. That already happened.
Who hit their head?
Still piss me off.
Steve-O hit.
Oh, Steve-O.
Got a bump on the noggin, guys. So definitely keep your thoughts
Damn, I
out
wish
there
it
for
was
him.
70 here, Jimmy.
Yeah, we've had in excess of 60 days of over 100-degree temps.
Damn.
And we've never had weather like that, ever. I mean, I can't tell you, we had 40 some odd days of over 110 degrees.
I'm just east of you, so we've had pretty much the same.
Hey, Keisha.
Yeah, you're in Texas, huh?
Yeah.
Anybody want to come up? Let me know.
Yeah, Texas is ridiculous. You guys have... You must be up there by Amarillo or something.
No.
No?
South Central, the hill country.
Oh, down by Austin?
No, northeast, just northeast of San Antonio.
I was like, I'm from South Central, bitches.
I was stationed in San Antonio in the Air Force for like 3 years, I think it was.
Yeah, my dad.
And I was pregnant in the summertime. And I was like, I don't ever want that again. That was hell.
No, that's
my mom, like, okay, so we're the topic is economy, and like my mom's told me stories of when she was 9 months pregnant in the wintertime, and she'd go to the gas station, and the gas station attendant wouldn't even do anything to help her. She told me this story once, and it's like back when they were supposed to be self-serve and shit, and it was just too snowy out. The guy didn't give a crap, so he didn't come out to help her.
Oh man,
it's like we can say these stories all day, and that's what we're here to do, talk about our lived experience. But the perspective is things have always been hard for people. Life is hard, right? And we struggle in order to grow, and that's like a cliche term, but plants do it too. They literally need stress to grow. If you give a plant like the zero stress, like no air, no wind coming at it, no nothing, like it doesn't grow very much. It grows very little.
That's the problem with society now, is we've taken a lot of the stress away from the kids. We padded all the edges, put warning labels on everything. You don't let them go out of your sight until they're 16 years old for some now. Like, you know what I mean? Like they're attached to their parents' hips at all times. Like,
right. But some of the stuff that they're teaching in school, or like LGBTQ, I can be a guy, I can be a girl, him and his. Whatever.
They're not. I'm a teacher. They don't teach that. They're not teaching that.
They did down here.
Where's down here?
Some locations, it depends.
Where?
And it depends on the people within the school that think they can get away with it as well. It's not like part of the curriculum.
They do get
it's
away
the
with
teachers fitting their agenda into the curriculum.
Let me bring you guys up. Let me give you guys
very good, is it?
What's that?
Sorry. Oklahoma school system isn't very good, is it? I've heard it.
No idea. This is the first time that our baby's up in the Oklahoma school system.
So let me give you guys.
They're saying Keisha said they'll come up.
I gave them both the links. What's up, Ted? What's up, brother?
Hey,
this is what I would say to push back a little bit. Now, obviously, with schools, this is directly people get more freaked out because they're with our kids. But do you guys remember stories? And I don't think it ever happened while I was alive, or at least when I was a small kid. But people used to get caught in movie theaters splicing the video or the movie reel and adding stuff in there, like pornography, or they were like you would put like a frame of pornography in there, and it would be so fast that the human eye would catch it, but your brain wouldn't register
subliminal.
that you saw it. The subliminal. They also got caught doing that with like hot dogs and soda and like popcorn and stuff to make you hungry, even though you don't know.
Subliminal advertising.
Yeah. And I mean, I can't imagine that's not still going on. But
it is for sure.
You still got like all those actors and actresses.
It's just getting more and more sophisticated.
Yeah, right. And so my point is, like, people have always wanted to inject their ideology or their thoughts into the world, right? So it's up to us as parents to pay attention to what our kids are involved in. And that's way easier said than done. Don't get me wrong.
There's lawsuits all across the country that parents are suing the school districts because they won't allow them to have any say, or they tell them what was it? 3 years ago, they were trying to label parents that would argue with the school district as domestic terrorists.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry, not to cut you off.
Like, I mean,
Come on.
That's when you really don't. That's when you're not allowed to parent anymore. You know what I mean? Like, that's what they've tried to do over these past 30 years is take the power away from the parents and put it in the hands of the government or the school.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there are definitely organizations that do. But I also, we've talked about this a little bit, Kim, already, where I think it's a bit of both. Like who's calling me? No, thank you. It's a bit of both where I think parents have given up the reins. Parents kind of let off because we're busy. We have to work 2 jobs now or whatever. It may not be the parents' fault directly, but we got to. And here's another thing. You could go all the way down the list as far as economy, especially 2-parent household is definitely a lot easier to maintain financially than a 1-parent household. And we all know these things are very common, but they also really affect the economy. So we can all sit here and bitch about our jobs, about prices of things, about all kinds of stuff. But in general, most of us are living in, sort of broken up situations, families spread out, single parent households, all those things are way more difficult on our pocketbook than it used to be.
Mr. Burns. I agree.
Homeschool. See, now that's a great idea, but not everyone. It's not for everyone, man. And we know that some parents, they're not like nurturing parents. They're the parents that maybe will provide and go to work and get the job done. And sometimes that's what you need as far as like a role model to look up to for a parent. But they may not be the parent that can sit down and like go over your ABCs and your math, And so there's a disconnect there for what we need.
And not everybody can afford it either. You have to have somebody at home with the kid. Like, say, you have to find that. Oh shit, my bad. You have to find that time within your day, depending if you're a 1-person household or a 2-person household. I just don't think homeschool is actually feasible for most people.
Well, let me go with Mr. Burns for what, Becca? Sorry.
It's been proven that it is.
I was replying to being.
I agree with Mr. Burns if and only if we can line up some of these other things, like try to get more people to stay together as far as family goes, not just significant others, but your family. Like, and we've talked about this before, guys. I don't want my whole family to live in my house. I don't want a giant house and you all live in the house, but maybe some land where we have a few houses, and that's my sort of dream idea. And with Mr. Burns' idea there, you could definitely do not just homeschooling, but the pod learning, the pod schooling. Have you guys heard of these? The pods
No.
are really cool too, because you haven't heard of these, Bean? So
No.
basically, what parents will do if they want to do a homeschooling situation, or if they may not happen to like what's happening in their district, they can maybe they don't have time to do homeschooling fully. They get in groups with other, like a handful of other parents, like 6 or 8 other parents, and then the pod of kids, a small pod of kids, then goes to different houses each day of the week, or each like a week at a time, whatever they work out on their system. But it's and I've actually seen a lot of teachers ending up in pods and helping with pods and stuff. So it's funny. It's
Yeah.
almost like we see the problem as far as the bureaucracy and the red tape and the upper management of all these programs and stuff. But now we're coming back to a sense of parent and teacher talking and having a relationship and working out what we need to learn and stuff, doing it on our own. And we keep finding that with technology. As far as going back to the economy, I mean, look at the gig economy, look at the or the electronic economy they're talking about, where with all the different apps that people are making money on and stuff. That's a way around a lot of the big tech, big companies that have been holding a lot of that back. We found ways around it. Go ahead, Bean.
I was just going to say, like, to go back to.
Oh, I didn't hear it.
Congratulations, Kyle. That is awesome.
Hey,
Hi.
I was just say go back to what you were saying about like the parents and stuff communicating with the teachers and all that.
There you are.
I know, like, I don't really deal with like PTA in school and all that shit, but I know one thing that I do hear a lot from a lot of parents that do deal with it is that the main complaint that they hear from the school is that parents aren't getting involved anymore. I mean, like Jenna told me that one time, and she like runs a school and shit. Like the parents, like the PTA is going down. The parents don't want to be involved in the schooling of the kids anymore. Like you
I don't feel like that's anything.
The interaction. Well, what that shows me is that the parents don't care anymore. The parents aren't invested in their children's education anymore. They're like, just go to school. They'll deal with you for 8 hours, come home, and like they don't really put the extra effort in to make sure that the kids are getting the education that they want them to get.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it still goes back to, I mean, my opinion anyways, it goes back to the fact that we have incentivized parents to break up. We incentivize it. And I'll tell you how, with the welfare system. We have been on it. I've been on it. I get $100 from Link a month now. But we used to get the assistance for the daycare and all that stuff. And I tell you what, guys, like all that stuff is so expensive that you have to work like 2 jobs if you're by yourself. Single mothers know this better than I do, because we at least did half and half, right? But the thing is, man, you can't pay attention. You can't go to PTA meetings when you just can't even keep up. Like and I'm not one of those people that says, oh, the man's just got us beat down. There's a way through this. There are logical reasons why we're down right now, but some of those is because we like free handouts on it better than we like to work for ourselves. That's a big one.
Well, yeah, that's the main problem. If you could give me just enough to survive, why would I go to work?
That's the thing. Yeah.
like
have you guys heard of the universal basic income idea? I'd like to hear Kim's thoughts on this one. Do you think that's a good idea or a bad idea that we give everybody like $1,000 a month as a basic income?
That's a terrible idea.
Okay, I'm with.
That's what we did during the pandemic.
I got lost 40% of our workforce.
People living in poverty.
On
Look at this, guys.
Everybody's rushing to the drug dealer.
Right. Look at what Kyle just said. Kyle won 10 G's. He's Canadian, so I'm not sure what that means for him.
That's like $7.
Congrats, Kyle, bro. That's awesome. Kyle gave me 50 stars. Thank you, bro. Appreciate that.
That's dope. What he said, what would you do with it? I would probably there's this charity out there. All you got to do is send it to the Bean Dongo Cash App.
Yeah.
Maybe instead of giving them money, though, they could do other stuff. They could give them like a voucher.
Yeah.
Where they had to use it
at a gift card.
I want to say something. You know, you talk about that incentivizing. I'm going to give it to you from a school teacher, because I'm a school teacher.
Wait. Can you pull your
school.
glasses down the nose just a tiny bit first? I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Look over your glasses.
Yes.
I'm gonna do you like that. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so I'm not going to give it to you in a monetary sense. I'm going to give it to you from a different example. So one of the things that my school board in my community did in all of their wonderful, glorious, liberal swill, okay, I'm so disappointed, you know, in what they did. So we are not allowed to give zeros for anything. The lowest grade that I can give a student is a 40%. Wow. So I have students that will gain 40%, and then they'll do 1 or 2 assignments where they get an A. That'll pull their grade up to a D- or a D, and they will ride that D, and they'll get full credit.
Whoa.
And they aren't learning a fucking thing.
But they're smart enough to know to do that garbage.
Yeah.
They can figure out how to get out of doing stuff.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy? And that's what we're graduating out of our school district. And I'm going to sit here and I'm going to take this further. Okay. I'm going to take it further in a couple of ways. I live in a county that is the 3rd poorest county in the entire United States. Okay. So you take the predominant culture here that is poor, because it ain't white people, I'll tell you that. It's predominantly Latino and Native American. Okay. And what does that do to our minority populations that we're working so hard to raise up out of poverty? Not a damn thing. Let me take it a step further. I teach special ed. I'm a special ed teacher. So my kids in my classes get a modified curriculum. I teach social studies. They get a modified curriculum, which means that it's a slower pace, and I don't introduce near as much curriculum to them as they would get in a regular general education class. So what justice, what am I giving to my kids?
It boggles the mind.
Boggling, yes.
You couple that with our district is now, so, you know, when you go to school and you're going, you get there in the morning and you're going to your classes, you're expected to be to your class on time, right? Because if you don't, there's consequences to it, right? Usually. Not in my district. You should see in the morning. I work in a high school. We have the largest high school. We have 5, I can't remember what they're called, comprehensive high schools in my city. And each of them has at least 2,000 kids. We have the largest campus at 2,300 kids. In the morning, I don't have a class. That's my planning period. And I stand out there and I watch the kids come in and kind of supervise to make sure nobody's getting in a fight or whatever, right? After the bell rings, you've still got 100 to 200 kids that are just sauntering through the halls, going to class like no big deal. And we aren't allowed to do shit for it. We aren't allowed to do shit for kids that have more than 30 days of absences the entire school year. They've taken away everything. It's like, what in the hell kind of a society are we moving to?
It's like,
well, yeah. Meanwhile, the rest of the world
get out of me because
meanwhile, the rest of the world is training soldiers and educated people, well-educated people, while we're trying to dumb ours down and feminize youth.
Our enemies. I have a military background. I have a bachelor's and a master's in government and law. So I see things from a government perspective, okay, because that's what my education is in, you know, and I have the background in the military. Our enemies are sitting there watching this shit.
Yeah.
And if you don't think that all of that shit that went on with Trump's first election, all of that stuff that was flowing in social media, that was not released by Russians and Chinese and whoever else it is that doesn't like democracy and controlling the minds of people. If you don't think that, I feel sorry for you, because a lot of that misinformation that was put out there by our enemies.
Yeah, they're definitely
define who the enemy
constantly.
is. China, Russia.
No, that's the thing,
Russia, anybody that's not friendly to a democracy.
And it's not really governments in my perspective anymore. I mean, you could look at China as
we're all pawns. Every government is a pawn in the game.
Even the government is a pawn within itself. We talked about in the tribal episode. We talked about just having, when there's more than a few hundred people, the number was 150 to be exact, but more than a few hundred people, you're going to end up with warring factions or warring interests within there. Yeah. Now, China, as an example, probably has that happening, but probably to a lesser degree because of the authoritarian nature and the boot or the violence. But our country isn't much different now. Now, I actually heard an interesting argument tonight. I was watching Timcast from a couple nights ago, and the guy was saying how he is actually pro-communist, but he's pro like a Christian version of communism. So he was discussing how when we talk about other countries and their communism or socialism or whatever it is that we may not like, it's their system is set up under their ideology to begin with, like everything that's the basis of it, the backdrop of it, the religion, the tradition, all that stuff. He's saying that our country basically would do it differently. Now, I don't necessarily agree with that, but I also don't agree that any country is a strict democracy or communism. Everybody's got this hybrid going on. Everything is like, everybody's hands in the pots now. Like, there's no like real system anymore. It's all being fabricated behind the scenes. Everything is just.
Look through any point in history and find one communist or socialist country that did it right. And if anybody can say that, they didn't do it, that wasn't real communism or that wasn't real socialism, I would do it better, is just an arrogant human being.
Communism and socialism might work. It might work in a very small community, like a commune kind of a situation.
Oh, yeah.
But in a large scale
But we all live by socialist rule in our household.
And the reason for that is because you have human nature. And if you don't think that humans are awful people, we're bad people, and I hate to, I know that people are probably going to sit there and say, oh, no, we're not. I'm the greatest thing since sliced bread or whatever. But
no, but you're right. We should lean on that.
Sit around and look at little kids and how they act. You have to teach them to be decent human beings because by nature, we are not like that.
Yeah.
If you go back in time to after the fall of Rome and that several hundred years from the time that Rome fell until, like the Glorious Revolution, look at what people did.
Look at what Kyle says.
If you're a heretic, and this is the church, these are Christians, we're burning people at the stake because they dared to step out and say, hey, you're not teaching things right. That's not what the Bible says. That's not the teachings of Jesus.
Religions are warring factions almost throughout history.
Yeah, and that's human nature. You're always going to have people that are going to take control, you're always going to have violence, and that's going to have to teach people and reinforce the behaviors that you want to see in a civil society, because by nature we're not like that. We're not born like that.
Right, and like I said, with the incentivizing and stuff. But I agree with that because this is the issue I have. If you want to boil, and we're getting a little away from economy strictly, but our economy is directly tied to our a way of doing things here, our ideology, you might say, in America. Well, we're divided. We all know this, right? It's generally along political lines, but that also is a big divide in economy as well. Now, I think personally, one side, if you might say, one side, and right now it's not necessarily Democrat, Republican. Both those teams are uniparty working together against us, right? But one side, as far as ideology, thinks more about the whole, what's good for the whole, or how what's that phrase? What's good for the many, or whatever. But the other side thinks more about individual rights. And the reason that those two things differ in my head is because when you think everybody is generally good, one side thinks everyone is good, good people from the start, which is the opposite of what's reality. The reality is we should assume or err on the side that humans are not necessarily evil, but you can't just assume everybody is got good intentions. I don't know. Am I making no sense here? Let's hear from Keisha. Hi, Keisha. I like your blue hair.
Awesome.
We have to make Keisha talk. We have to clear the air. Go ahead, Keisha. Hi.
Hi. Very dirty.
I'm just listening.
Oh, well, okay. All right. You had your shot.
Nice talk.
We got Kat coming up here in a minute. She's got that Canadian perspective, so that'll be fun. But yeah, I mean, when you think economy, man, like that is definitely it's directly government. Hi, Val. What's up?
I think there's a war going on everywhere.
What's up, Maxwell?
And you're losing it with our kids because we're not doing it right. By 12 years old, they're not wanting to learn no more about what happened 50 years ago because it ain't going to matter in another 25 or 30 to them.
That's true.
Yeah, but it's sad when you think of it that way, but I like to give perspective, right?
They're living in the now, though.
Yes, but think about this, Lisa May. It's a cycle. It's a cycle. It's a cycle. It keeps going. It's going on for hundreds of for our whole existence. Where the kids say the adults don't know what they're talking about. What?
All these jobs they say that need to be filled, nobody wants to work them. Put these 12-year-olds in a program where they go to work part-time. Teach them how to do finances. Teach them all that stuff in a class. Because
I agree, but it's a symptom of the greater issue, though. And I think a lot of there's not to doom and gloom you guys, but our cycle. I personally believe there's a lot of theories behind this, but our cycle as a human race, we build up to 8. The projections are about 9 billion, but we may not even make it to there before we collapse, and then the numbers go back down to almost nothing, and then we do it all over again. It even says in the Bible that that's not the first time it's been written. It's not the first time it's been talked about. So I believe that we've just been going through this reset button every 20,000 years or so, and we just so you're talking what you're describing is
our population's way more now than it was back then too, and stuff's way different.
No,
now.
But that's what they're saying is that we've gotten to this big multiple times. Like 30,000 years ago, we may have had 9 billion people again at that time, and then boom, we've gotten.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't know if that's possible.
So who made
there would be more infrastructure?
There was no support for that. Yeah, the infrastructure. There was no support for that.
In 10,000
years, I think that the protection.
Whoa. None of that would be here. 10,000 years is enough time that if all humans were gone today, in 10,000 years, you wouldn't see anything on the planet other than maybe the Hoover Dam, the pyramids, the Great Wall of China. Like you wouldn't see anything that's not like made of solid.
There would be traces of it.
We have traces of it. The pyramids.
I think
we have no idea how they were made.
I think the most sophisticated research shows that we've just been in a steady growth, and we're going to cap. I mean, 10 years ago they projected 9 billion. I think they're looking at like 8.5 billion now, and then they say it's going to shrink to about 2 billion, and then it'll steady out around there.
What's up, John?
But that's what I've heard. I haven't really looked into it in a while.
Okay, so have you heard of when civilization started? Anyone know? Anyone have the idea of when it started? Because we've been saying 6,000 years ago for a while.
I think civilization started well before it was ever documented. I mean, I would have
written history.
Look at the Chinese empires, Asian.
Yeah.
Okay, well, but that's my point though, is that we're much older
There
than what
wasn't-
we've been.
The earliest recorded history are the
That's what
ancient tribes that are talked about in the Bible.
Right, and that's what I'm
That
saying.
was recorded history. I think
Mhm.
that there were people that existed in some kind of civilizations, probably very tribal kinds of people, that were alive back in dinosaur times.
Right.
There's let me
But
see.
we don't
okay.
have any record of that. Got to dig it out of the earth. It's got to get unearthed somehow.
So are
Have you
you
heard
y'all
of-
completely arguing against the evolution theory then?
I don't argue
Against
against the evolution theory. My personal belief, because I've taught early human history and I've done a lot of research. I believe there's evolution. I'm a Christian and I believe that humans evolved. What we evolved from, I have no idea. I don't
Yeah,
know.
so
the
there would be
difference.
like the Homo erectus.
It takes a long time though.
But
Real regular
adaptation is
evolution,
a
very
fact, and that's all evolution is adaptation. You know,
Yeah.
and
that's
it happens over very long periods of time. I personally think that humans were around back in dinosaur times because, you look at many ancient cultures and they have dragons, for example. And we think of dragons as mythological characters, right?
Yeah,
But
the
if-
cultures that have never talked to each other.
But if you look
Yeah,
at
there's
the
dragons
depictions,
everywhere.
if you look at the depictions of dragons in different cultures, they're giant dinosaurs. They're huge, giant lizards.
I can
right?
devil's advocate that
Right on.
because they may have found the bones and thought, "Wow, this is dragon." They extrapolated that, like, look at this thing. It's got giant
All of them
jaws.
did?
And
Well,
they
they
might have
might
found bones on
giant
every
bones.
continent. Yeah,
They might have
There's
found
di-
giant bones, but dragons are known to be lizards. Look at the Chinese
Yeah.
dragon.
not every dragon's a lizard. I mean, they have like bird feathers sometimes, and sometimes there's like worm dragons and
Yeah.
weird things like that. But you're right.
But
I'm just playing
about
devil's
dragon in
advocate.
Chinese
That's
culture
more
is a
artist
snake.
depiction.
Right. The artist might
So-
make differences too. I think if you're looking at a pterodactyl bones, like you might be thinking dragon for sure, wings and stuff like that. Who knows? I honestly think,
Yeah.
have you guys ever heard the story of why we thought dragons lived in caves? And it makes sense. I mean, who knows if it's really, really true, but this is the story I heard.
Supposedly
So
that's
back
where
in
they
the
live.
medieval days, when knights would go and across the realm and and slay the beasts, well, they would go. What would you do most likely in the rain? You'd probably find a cave, right, to go hang out.
Mhm.
Well, and what are you going to do at that time to go searching around the cave? Anybody?
Light a fire.
You're gonna have a torch. You're gonna have a torch, right? And what would they do? They go back in the cave, and you'd see a whole bunch of dead bodies. There's treasure. There's swords. Holy cow! There must be a dragon in here. Guess what? They find a trickle of a methane deposit, bro, and it trickles back there without them seeing it, and then the cave explodes with a fireball, killing them. That does happen. That does happen.
Somebody farts.
Yes. No, I mean the cave farts. Like the cave has a deposit. Not every cave, but that happened.
Yeah.
I love seeing. I love
This would
history,
be
and
in
I love
William's
how
book.
like you can mix the two. Like you can still think, you can still believe in God, but also believe in like natural processes happening, and maybe that's just the thing that caused these processes. This mechanics we call life, right? So I don't know. I'm just saying that we are definitely much older than what we think, and I think we've had written
I'm only 34.
written language before like thousand. So there's a city called Göbekli Tepe. I'll never stop bringing this up. It's they have done carbon dating on this city. It's in Turkey, and they can only do it accurately because the city is buried. And they know it was buried on purpose because of the way the sediment is laid on down. Like you can tell that it was bucketed on instead of like a landslide happening or whatever. So they buried their own city on purpose. And we think that was so that they could prove it was like a note being sent thousands of years into the future saying people lived now at this time. They're all stone monolithic type type things, but this was still after the last ice age, so people would have been still building back at that time. Think about Atlantis. They actually think they found the location of Atlantis recently. I can't remember where it was, but they haven't. Do you heard about this, Kim? I know they've talked about it before, I'm sure, in the past, but this is like supposedly for sure. We'll see how it goes. But I believe, and this is, let me read to you guys something called the cataclysm theory. It's a little bit of pseudoscience. Okay. The cataclysmic, and now we do know that our poles shift on the planet. I know we're way off topic here, but it all matters, because when you're talking about what your country can produce or what we can build and make, it's like it all has to do with our resources and what we can use. That's what economy is. And so the cataclysmic pole shift hypothesizes in a pseudoscientific claim that there have been recent geological rapid shifts in the axis of rotation of the Earth, causing calamities such as floods and tectonic events or relative rapid climate changes. We know that the poles have shifted before. We think that this is something that happens every so often, every 20,000 years or something. The poles shift. Doesn't mean that the planet just flips over. It means that the magnetic sphere in the planet shifts, which causes major changes on our planet, whether we want it to or not. Imagine that being like our reset button. And there's another theory of that's called the Fermi's paradox, and we're always trying to figure out, why haven't we found them aliens yet? Well, one of the thoughts is that we just keep running into something every time we get big enough that we can even do those things and go out there. We get knocked back down to zero, to square one, like every time we get close to that. And there's a lot of cool theories out there, guys, but it only makes sense that we've been here longer. I mean, if you look into the pyramids, even for 5 minutes, you'll find out that it's like we have no idea. We have no clue how that stuff got put there. Like, it wasn't mammoths and like copper tools that wasn't making that stuff. Sorry.
Yeah, and the thing is, there was other in the world making pyramids too. These were all happening around the same time frame.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Like the pyramids down in Mexico at Tenochtitlan and all of that.
There are pyramids all over the planet. That's another weird one.
How does that happen?
And there's very, very similar, like when you study the cultures.
Hi, Nancy.
That were.
Come on up. I see you go live and stuff. Come on up. Sorry, go ahead.
There's actually there's a video that shows like pretty much exactly how those stones were moved. Not how they were cut, but how they were moved.
Really?
Yeah, and it's not hard. Like, there's a guy that does it with one hand. He pushes those stones across sand. Like, it's just the way that
a 100-ton stone across sand in the video.
Yeah, it's the way that they built it's like a wheel, but it's not round. It's like got like edges and shit, and like the way that it's shaped, like the thing just fucking tumbles on it. Like, he could spin it by himself. He could he even shows that how they take it up to like take one from the bottom all the way up to the top, and it's fucking simple. Like, once you see what he builds,
there's a video for it.
Engineering.
It's a big like piece of styrofoam that's painted like a rock. You guys. Hi, Kat.
Maybe. I mean, it could be.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
We got two blue hairs, and they are both defying stereotypes, because neither one of them are old, and they're not curly with like the big, the blue hair wig.
You got me confused.
It's the thing in America, Kat. I used to know this old guy. He'd be like, "All right, we got some old blue hairs over here." Like, he would talk about women like that, older ladies, and call them blue hairs. I would never say that, not me, but
no, not you. You would never.
Because I didn't even know anyone cared. I'm like, she's a lady with blue hair. It didn't register to me at the time, but it just was a thing that old men would insult with, I guess. I don't know. This same guy had a fused neck. The guy, like, he had to.
Right.
Like, literally couldn't turn his head. Anyway, different story there.
They would be the ones to say it too, for sure.
Right. Yeah. Big old smart ass guy. Like the Cordial City or Castle guy. What?
Cemetery. What does that mean?
So how's everybody doing?
That's That's scary, Nancy.
Is that an
Come up
old
and
lady
hang out
that's
with us?
not dyeing her hair?
Cemetery
I
blonde.
don't know.
Cemetery blonde.
I think it
Hey,
means like almost
you
whitish
got-
blonde. I'm guessing.
No, well, look at her profile.
Well,
Let's go
look at it.
creeper
Let's
and
check
see.
it out. Let's all pull it up.
Boondogger.
Well, you can see her picture. Nancy has a group too. What's your group name, Nancy? I see you go live sometimes. What's up, Boondogger? What's up,
Nancy.
y'all? We got 9 people over on the Rumble, y'all. What's up, Rumblers?
Hey,
You guys hanging
Boondogger.
out. Throw us a comment. We'll read it. So, does anybody here save their change?
I do.
I
Have you
don't
ever,
for about
have you ever
5
gone through it to
minutes.
see if you got anything worth money?
Yep.
No.
Sometimes.
I know that sounds funny to say, but
I haven't used cash much, so my change jar has sat at the same amount, and I haven't noticed what coins look like. Has anybody seen the new quarters?
No, but has anybody seen any hairy brown beavers?
What the fuck?
Over here's looking for them. If anyone's got them.
Right on. Harry
What a
Brown
twist.
Beaver, huh?
And made Cat leave.
Wow.
She's like, oh, out of here.
Let us know how many pelts you get.
Yeah, let us know how many you get there, Boondogger. I hear the beaver tail is pretty tasty.
No, the new quarters look so fake. Like they look like nickels, and like they look.
And they're
plastic.
lightweight too.
I actually have a coin collection worth a little change.
Yeah,
What do you
don't
guys
put the
think will be
value
worth?
out on the computer?
What do you guys think will be worth the most money
my neighbor
in
has
the time of like our financial collapse? What would be the? I don't mean like post-apocalyptic scenario. Just think about something simpler that might happen where our money just sucks. What would be worth the most money?
Always going to keep some kind of value.
Would it be
coffee.
silver? Would it be gold? I mean, does Bitcoin
Gold.
survive the collapse?
Is there even that much gold left?
All those answers are
Haven't we
wrong.
given it all to the Anunnaki? Never mind.
Sean says
Gold
silver.
is-
Wrong.
Gold is
Boondogger's got
everywhere.
5 gallons of silver change. Dang.
I think if our economy collapsed, we're not looking at like gold and silver. I think for the
Tim's got
daily
it.
commodities exchange for like food and stuff, I think it's going to be like weapons.
It'll
and
be food and bullets.
Clothing.
Food
Yeah.
and
Be
bullets.
the basic
Period.
staples of cooking.
You'll be able to buy
coffee,
things with
tea,
bullets.
sugar, salt, flour,
Yeah,
meat.
I think you'll have a lot of those things, Becca, that you could trade with. But I think
Exactly.
in general, bullets and just food, just the category of food in general. I think extra spices and all that stuff, you're not going to be trading that unless you got bullets too. Like you're
Any
so I
kind
feel
of
like
medicine you can get a hold of. Bandages.
or just knowledge, man. Like
Nature
that's
kits.
why I'm investing in the knowledge. If I have
That's where I'm
knowledge
just-
about plants
I'm
and
heading
about
in
knowledge.
knowledge myself for.
exactly,
Yeah.
that's what I'm looking at.
I think
I'm
anything
investing.
survival related, anything
It's
that's
good
going to
to
help
know
you
for
survive is going to be
sure.
valuable.
Yes.
I want to buy some books.
Time to ask your neighbor for a spoonful of sugar, though.
Right.
When's the last time you had to do that?
You're gonna get one of them bullets coming back your way.
Yeah.
I'm too
Depends how
low.
fat you are, I reckon.
You just only want a spoon?
That was dark.
Fuel, yeah, fuel. That's right. Fuel, bullets, and food. Boondogger. Fuel for a while, but
Sure.
honestly, man, if anyone's seen that the Twisted Metal movie or a TV series, I watched it and I talked about it last week, I think. But bullets is one of the things they use for currency. And he goes into the city where there's people still, and they order a pizza, and he's confused. He doesn't know what a pizza delivery is. He's like, "You're bringing me something?" And then the guy he goes, "How many bullets do you need?" And the pizza delivery guy goes, "There's cash right there, dude." Like he thought it was weird. It was like they were in two different worlds, but one guy thinks it's bullets. Hot dog water, John. You better save that aged hot
Is this
dog
a
water. I
TV
guess,
show
is
you
the
were
best.
talking about?
Well, I was gonna say like clean drinking water and stuff would definitely be something too
Yeah.
that people would want to collect and have your own of and make some type of system for like clean drinking water, like or if you had a nice source for that.
I
And
was
others
thinking like
in
if you
your
had to
area.
There's
travel,
lots of
you know,
devices out there to clean water.
if you had to go
You know,
somewhere.
if our economy falls, that civilization as we know it is going to
Who would we lose?
dramatically change. I mean, look at I go back to the fall of Rome. look what happened when Rome fell. It was within a generation that people became uneducated, couldn't read, couldn't write, became serfs,
Right.
lost their
Yeah.
freedom.
But that goes to my
feudal
point
system.
though. With the cataclysm theory, that kind of leads into my point. It doesn't necessarily have to be a pole shift or a solar flare or a asteroid. All it has to be is that we can collapse, guys. Even though there's tons of people, it doesn't mean that we can just like we're talking about. If the economy crashes, like say our finance system, you know, because a lot of countries have their hands in our and every country has their hands in almost every other country's cyber stuff, right? So if, you know, technically, I know there was a whole trope of like Russia is going to shut off our power. Well, someone could do that through the cyber system. If our electricity went out, just electricity alone, if that went out for a week, 2 weeks, you would have utter insanity. It would, like, the cities, no one will survive in the cities. You need to get
you
out
wouldn't
of
have access to water or anything, your food, nothing.
Well, we
Back
see how people act.
2013, we had a radicchio through my area, and it knocked power out for some people for 2 weeks.
Yeah, I've
Right
gotten
in the
power
town,
for
we had people
a lot
blocked
longer
up
than a
for
week.
for blocks trying to get ice or gas or something like that. But these people were sitting in line, running their cars, running out of gas.
Okay, Cat? Oh,
You know, and it was crazy.
Getting
My
booted.
ex-husband was a fuel man, and he had to haul fuel during that episode to like hospitals and nursing homes, and you know, so I kind of seen it because people were just, you know, we shared a generator on the farm between 4 houses, you know, trying to keep our freezers from not defrosting.
Right.
Yeah. So, you know, it was serious.
Well, that's the thing, is like,
then you could
if-
really see the frustration and stuff in people and the attitudes that came out because they couldn't get whatever it was they wanted. You know what I mean? It was just not.
that's why I talk about it, guys. I don't talk about it to scare everyone. I talk about it because if you're someone, first of all, just being aware of the possibilities of things is enough to make you more calm in a situation. You know,
exactly.
Oh, this.
When you're
Okay,
prepared,
I've been expecting this thing to happen or
I
whatever.
was going to say
Like,
that eventually people would adjust.
Yes.
Yeah, like
Wow.
preparation for anything, you know, you prepare for like, you know, house fires or floods or emergency situations or whatever. So although this is long term, you know, it's still preparing not just like what we have and what we collect, but our survival skills, our mindset, like preparing for different things and just thinking about in reality, like what would you do in those types of situations? Do you have the knowledge? Do you have the like, you know, different things that you could put to good use and, you know, help yourself in a time when the economy falls like that?
Well, and you know, you'd be useful to people. So you're like, Kim, we talked about this last week where we have this instinctual knowledge that we need other people around to help us survive, especially in times when there's no technology. So when you are somebody, I'm a doctor, or I'm a grower, or I'm a fighter, or I'm a dwarf with a double axe, and I have this special ring. I don't know, something like that.
But what do you bring to the table of that, like smaller society, to be able to all like put in your own part and make it, you know, so it's worth having you there? And pretty much like if they're trying to save certain people for things like what type of skills, what can you help with, you know, it definitely makes a difference for sure.
That's why I like the game D&D. Kat, you guys have do you have nerd shops up there that have like card players and Pokemons and D&D players? You may not know if you do or not. Or
I love Pokemon. I'm sure we definitely do, but I'm in a pretty small place. But
right,
yeah,
I forgot. You can throw a rock across Newfoundland, you guys. She stands every day she stands on a beach on one side, and she yells over to her friend. She's got her friend Katie. Her friend, she's got a cup and a string. From that cup, the string that goes to the other end of the island, and she's like,
she's in another part of Canada, but yeah, sure. Right. I put it right across Canada. Actually,
okay, you got the Hollow Noggin over there. So Frosty, you ever been in the Hollow Noggin?
Yeah, actually, I have before. I've been in there I think
That would be the
once
live
it
stream, Cat.
goes-
You go in there on a Sunday when Frosty's working, go in there live. Bro.
His hollow noggin is a few hours away from Corner Brook. There's a few of
I
them
see.
across the island, but I've got a bong from the hollow noggin from Frosty before and stuff. Actually, yeah.
Whoa, Kyle says he fasted for a month. Bro, it's incredible. Your body releases a chemical that helps you live longer when you're hungry.
It's native.
So, if the economy falls, you guys are sitting here talking like everybody's going to come together and kumbaya with each other. But, the thing
Yeah.
is that's, there might be some people that do that.
No, we weren't saying that. We were saying that you want to have some sort of useful skill so that you could be used by whatever,
Yeah, but
gang or whoever.
you guys are sitting here acting like everything's going to be like all organized and stuff. If our economy falls, depending on how bad it falls, it'll be
Chaos.
anarchy.
Yep.
You're going to have all these people that live in
will not be
cities
happy.
that have no idea how to fucking take care of themselves because
There'll
there's
be
no
roving
grocery
bands of
store,
people
there's
through
not,
the
and
city.
they don't have the common sense that God
I think
gave them.
eventually
Right?
people will revert into tribes and stuff, and civil action would happen. But
Oh,
how
man.
long? I was going to ask, how long do you think it would take for people to just stop being fucking psychos out there? Because it's going to happen right away.
It'll destroy
It's
a
gonna be-
lot of us, probably.
How long do you think they're going to go just ape shit and like it's going to be chaos before they
Teaching the
revert
rats
into
and stuff
tribes?
during a lockdown, take away people's food and make them fend for their life. It'll be crazy.
It's going
It'll
to
be
be
the most
like
evil
that
will take
until
over.
you have people that rise up as leaders, good or
Which
bad.
could be good or bad. I
people
mean,
that
the
rise
leaders.
up to lead as leaders, because one
Sure.
thing that people do not like is chaos. We like
I don't know,
stability.
Joe.
We like to know where things are coming. We like that routine, that order, and that's just human nature.
Yeah.
So it will depend on the people that rise up as leaders and people following in order, saying, well, this guy seems like a good guy, let's go with him, kind of a thing. But I think you're right about the tribal thing. I think it'd probably go back to tribalism to some degree.
That's not
I'd say it would take a
necessarily
month.
when it ends, though. The tribes
I
will
think
be
it takes
warring,
a
and
month
there will
to
still
get back
be,
to
what? A month?
A month.
I think
It'll
it
be years, bro.
depends. I
years.
don't think I think a month is too short.
It'll
They're
be
going to run
years.
out of food fast. People are going to start dying fast.
Look at go
and
back
then they're going to realize there's dead
You
bodies
bet the
out there.
stores were empty and stuff when Corona happened.
look at what happened in Rome. Look at what happened with the fall of Rome. And look at the hundreds of
Nice.
years of war. When I teach world history, we look at all the maps. Those maps,
Sorry,
like
Kat.
the territories of all these different Germanic tribes, started out little and they expanded way out over time, and now they're back to where they are kind of now with the way that Europe ended up.
Yeah, I think, but
it
that's
was
still
hundreds of years of wars.
that's still reverting to tribalism. Like I think that's exactly where they would go within like a month. You would
Well,
be
hold on.
looking
What do
around you like, I need to get some local people to band together with. Like,
Well, people
know
would
what I
say
mean?
that right away, but what are you saying? What are you considering tribal? Because there will be roving bands of smaller groups that are all warring with each other for a long time. But if you're considering a semblance of society where like there's a territory and that territory has an army and all that sort of thing, that's going to be years. But like people will have gangs; they'll be like warring gangs almost immediately. Like it'll be like you got to find a group of somebody to stay with. It'll be fast, the tribes stuff, but the tribes will be like insanity still for a long time. You'll end up having like cannibals. You'll have things of every different extreme. You'll have it's just
the worst of the worst would come out right away.
Thunderdome.
It would be bad.
I don't know. I feel like I have hope. There's a lot more prepping going on these days. There's a lot more people like myself, that was one of the reasons why I'm doing the show, guys. We're kind of touching on some sensitive subjects for me because I see the writing on the wall. And what do I want to do? I don't want to just go and hide in a bunker somewhere and keep collecting up stuff because I'm actually I'm not that prepared for almost anything. But my knowledge, though, I've been working on that. I'm like, okay, if I have nothing, can I make something happen? Yes. So that's what I'm banking on. But when I made the show, my first show, I was thinking, man, we need people to just talk about it more, make it more popular, make it fun and entertaining, and make the Tonight Show out of self-sustainability, make Joe Rogan out of self-sustainability, and make that like there are thousands of topics within self-sustainability. So you can do it nonstop forever and make it fun. And, maybe I can
Better
get,
than Joe.
But that was the whole point. It's like, what could I do? What could little old me do to try to help stop that chaos that you're talking about, Bean? And some of that is plans that I'll probably never get to before it happens, like buying a whole bunch of land, having a homestead, all those sort of things. That was my end goal of like how I could help, is like gather my loved ones and family and friends into a homestead environment where we have, like, so if I had a farm and it was all business and it was all open, the economy was great, we're doing well, it's a great idea. I work at home, I have food, but then if all shit hits the fan, I can close the gates. I have a building full of food. Like when I thought about building a business, I was thinking, well, what would I do? Would I want a warehouse full of widgets when all shit hits the fan? Like then I have to go and trade those for something, or, like a warehouse full of rubber bands. Yes, I'm the best rubber band salesman in the world. But then while shit hits the fan, I got to find some way to like trade that for food. Even cannabis, guys. People are like, I'm going to have a warehouse full of cannabis. Well, then you got to go and trade that. And if you don't have guns and bullets, then people are just going to take your cannabis anyway. And you could eat it. You could technically eat it to survive, but I don't know for how long.
Nice.
So that's why I'm thinking I don't
think trade will come into effect for a long time either, because like you said, that people are just going to take what they want.
It'll be
the strongest
take.
for a while.
It's going to be survival of the fittest.
But it'll be also give. It'll be take and give. It'll be those who are still not, and maybe they'll be delusional for a while. The people who might still be nice, that'll still like help you and stuff at that time. Those people might just be the ones that it hasn't sunk in yet. They're still, or whatever. Their survival instinct hasn't made them evil yet, or whatever. But like there'll be good things happening in those situations. Val, like taking it dark. Sorry, Val. She's like, wow.
Well, the thing is that if the United States economy falls, it's going to cause most of the free world.
It would ripple through the whole country.
We'll all be.
It'll be a world collapse. It won't just be America.
No,
I don't know. Yeah. I feel like China might be okay. They've spent a long time like building their own separate things of everything we have. They make their own version of it.
China will be okay and Russia will be okay because both of those countries have been around for a long time. Their people are resilient as hell. But the rest of the Western world will likely all be in the same kind of a boat.
Well, I imagine it's going to be something beyond our control anyway, like a solar flare or a polar shift. But I don't see it as, I'm not scared, guys. Like it's a cyclical thing. Life, all of it, everything we're doing is cyclical. We're going through cycles. We're going through the beginning, the end, the rebirth, all of it. It's all part of the world and what we do. So
okay, but I thought we were talking about the economy. Now you're just talking about apocalypse.
Is the universe, is the economy not inside the universe, Val?
It's a separate thing, ain't it?
Yeah, no, it's not a separate thing. We have to be aware of these things if we want to go about like building a business or making changes in our life. If we want to move to a new location and find a better life, to go a better economy or whatever, we have to look into the future a little bit. You have to plan ahead a little bit on those decisions.
You were talking about earlier about two people, two-person incomes, and a side hustle and doing things to supplement your income.
Yep.
And from my perspective, I don't think we touched on this. I'm on a fixed income. And I don't have anything that I have the energy or the, wherewithal to do to supplement that.
Extra, right.
So if, I'm at the mercy of the way the economy goes.
Yeah.
And I pay just as much for groceries as everybody else. And,
Yeah.
Sucks.
Well, if I was playing Deville's advocate, not and again, not saying I do these
Into
things,
Bill.
but what you could do, is you could take the few dollars that you might have, like say the money you give me, you could take that from locals, and you could, if you were like took time to spend like researching something to invest in or whatever, like theoretically, that's what someone would say is like, and I'm not good. You
Well,
guys, I finally
I
bought some
have some
Bitcoin.
investments there,
What?
but not enough to sustain me, not enough to
Right.
pay
So
me
it would be
dividends every month or anything. But no, I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought.
no, I hear what you're saying. I just like I think those who have ultra success think differently than the rest of us. They it's almost like they don't even see a box. We're sitting here trying to think outside the box, and the box isn't even there for them. They're like they go around things. It might, and I don't mean nefarious things necessarily, but there are loopholes and shit. And it's like, man, I don't know. It's so daunting to, like, for me as a veteran. There's probably a
Take
couple
your
dozen
time.
like programs out there, but I don't have a clue how to find which one I could use that would actually give me a leg up on something, And it sucks, man. It sucks because we have so many things, so many programs that we could take advantage of. We get taken advantage of by scammers so that we don't know which ones are good. And it sucks, man. I'm on a fixed income too, Val, and I'm like, do I just sit here and be quiet and take my income and be happy for a few minutes, for a few years, whatever, until the money's worth less, right? Or do I try to, I'm like burning the candle at both ends by spending the money on my bills, but then also spending what I don't have on like equipment and all this stuff that I'm trying to push forward to. So I keep running into the point where I'm like, oh, I'm out for this month. I got to wait till next month, and we both run into that, I'm sure. But I'm hoping by the end of this month, I'm hoping to have packaging products actually be able to go out and do this hustle that we're talking about. But up until then, it's just a drain nonstop. So I can't imagine somebody that is not working at all and trying to start a business without any income, because people do that out there. And then on top of that, I can't imagine somebody who works a full-time job trying to start a business on the side. The side hustle is really all it is. Like, you can do a little bit on the side, Lisa May, don't you have a couple different jobs?
No, I have one job. Actually, pictures on Feet Finder and DoorDashing and home care.
She does it all, y'all.
That's
Well,
awesome.
that's the definition of the side hustle, right? Get the few bucks on the
I
side.
do tie-dye, and every cent that I make either helps me in my daily living or it goes straight back into more dyes or whatever I need. So, and I'm not pushing that too hard right now.
Nancy, there's
a side hustle that you could just sit it in front of your computer and do. Amazon offers that you can just pick their items and put them onto your Etsy, and then if you use the right keywords and stuff on your Etsy, people will find the items through your stuff, and you get a percentage of whatever the sale is as long as they click on it through your thing.
Right.
All you do is pick items that you think are going to sell, put them on your Etsy through Amazon.
There's a lot of stuff like that. There's some, you can do Google reviews. I guess you can get paid for doing reviews on Google.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm in like the top 12% on reviews. I review everything.
Well, maybe you get paid to people review your thing. I don't remember what it was, but somebody was talking about it, that you can go do reviews. You can also be an Amazon affiliate, where whenever you buy things from Amazon, you can put the link for it in like a picture of it. And if people use your link, you can make some money that way, similar to other affiliations.
Used to do that.
Yeah, you don't even have to buy the items.
Do you guys remember when they used to be like, you could lick stamps at home, work from home? and you could
Yeah, I
just
remember
not
that.
stamps, lick
Yeah.
envelopes. I'm sorry, lick envelopes.
Right.
I said stamps, but yeah, you know, you could lick envelopes to make money. What's up,
I
Facebook?
imagine that company got sued into the dirt. Like,
What did?
The envelope licking company. Wasn't there a
They
glue
had a
like
glue for that.
wasn't it?
Oh
like,
yeah, the glue.
yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah, they probably got sued out of
the
business.
smart move is you take a sponge and you just
Yeah.
get sponge wet. And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you think the people licking stamps at home were
right. We got the dog right there. But the other thing
Oh
is,
my
oh no, before I go on, the stamps. I was at the post office today, and I was like, I don't really buy stamps for anything. I was like, can I get stamps with my face on them? And the lady was like, that's a good idea, but no, you can't. They actually have a committee that votes on what stamps are allowed to be
Yes,
put
sir.
out.
Really?
But somebody has to put up a suggestion, or has to what do you call it? Nominate something. Yeah. So I was like, well, if I can get someone to nominate a picture of me, and then I pay off the other judges or whatever
All
it is,
right.
you know, and I can get a stamp made with my face.
Don't challenge us.
There's a couple
Don't they
barriers
come
there.
out the new stamp book every year though?
You could just nominate yourself, can't you?
For that one, that would be cool.
What
Yeah,
I
they
think I
put
could
out
do,
different
here's what I'll do,
commemorative
guys.
stamps and shit.
I'll bypass all this, and I'll just make stickers that look like stamps with my
Right
face
on.
on them.
Sounds good. Yeah.
They'll make it
that's
extra
cool.
big.
Put it in the back.
Yep.
Put some microgreens or something, or a lamp or whatever.
Well, I'm making business cards soon, guys.
You're gonna make them the
be-
same size as a stamp, and people are actually gonna try to use them, and you're gonna have a bunch of federal lawsuits on your hands.
I don't know if I'd get in trouble or not.
That's forgery. Stamps were currency like at one time.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh
true.
yeah, well yeah, that's true. They were.
Yeah, you used
Oh,
to
I
be
didn't
able
think about
to
that.
buy
Yeah.
stuff by just sending stamps.
It's a federal
Well,
offense
and
to forge a stamp.
Sorry, speaking of currency though, it's a good segue, because do we think that it's important to sort of pay attention a little bit to like the world, and as far as currency goes, like we're just our little old selves in our house in America, but when you're looking at like what's got value, like we all know our dollar's kind of going downhill. So like I bought some Bitcoin, and I've been hearing a lot of things about Bitcoin, like about how governments are secretly trying to control crypto, or trying to get us to use their crypto instead. There's going to be like a Fed coin coming out and all that. So who knows what happens, whether Bitcoin gets corrupted or whatever. But it freaking tanked. If you own Bitcoin out there, you guys know what I'm saying, man. It tanked. Like I'm $200 down on it right now. It's crazy. I don't know what happened, man. Like, but here's what I think happens, and you might see this with stocks out there if you guys are in stock market. I think it's called short selling, where the big fish, the whales or the big fish, the shark will come in and they'll sell a whole bunch of the stock or the crypto coin. They dump a whole bunch of it, and that makes the price go down. And as the price is starting to go down, all of us normies all of us little guppies who might have like $100 of Bitcoin are like, oh shoot, I have to get my money back quick before it, goes away, or it keeps plummeting or whatever it is. And so it's just a trick to get us to then sell ours back too, or trade ours back in. And then that big fish comes back and scoops it all back up at the lower price. So that is the thing.
Yeah.
Good night, Kyle.
Some exchanges allow you to bet on the loss as well, where you don't even have to really wait for it to come out. You just bet for the stock to lose money.
With a faraway payment. Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. The faraway payment is like starting a business.
Yeah,
I lost like close to $9,000 on Shiba Inu.
Yeah.
Shiba Inu? Oh, the coin?
Yeah.
That's a bet now, Corey.
Did it disappear altogether?
No. I didn't pull my money, so I didn't really lose nothing. It's gonna come back, guys. It's
gonna. But $5,000 though went down. I mean, well, it just depends on what the total is, but
yeah, I had too much on there. I bet it all.
I've spread out. So on Mines, you earn crypto coin. You earn Mines coin. And then on I have some Litecoin, and I have some Ethereum, and I have some Bitcoin. Bitcoin's the only one I have like $100 or more in. The other ones are just a little bit. But I've actually, all of them have been going down. So I think it's just there's a lot of turmoil in the market. If you guys are talking economy, politics directly is affected affects it, because you got an election cycle right now that the economy is we're gonna see crazy, insane things happening here in the next year. I mean,
Joe would buy some stocks, and like if he would get up to 500 and he only put 200 in, then he would cash out the 300 and then start over just with the original 200. And
yeah, I mean, if you can find a stock that goes up, and that one time, boy, that it just starts to plummet or whatever, like you lose. So
yeah,
you
might have to do something else.
Right, and I like mutual funds for that because they can spread it out. But I thought Bitcoin was I don't want to say it's not a sure thing, but I didn't know it was going to fluctuate that fast. I think it'll go back up.
They say that there's a rule with Bitcoin. You're going to see ups, you're going to see downs, but the main trajectory of Bitcoin is up. So
yes, but it's kind of insane when you look at how it was at 50,000 and now it's back down to 20,000. Like but
it still didn't drop past the last all-time high before it hit 50,000. The last all-time high was 19.
What do you? So I see what you're saying.
Yeah, so it's still it does is it drops down, but it never goes below the last all-time high. So like it just keeps bouncing and gets a higher bounce every time. Like
we'll see. Hopefully,
it might happen in 2 years. It might happen in 10. You just gotta have them diamond hands to hold on to your stock long enough. Don't have paper hands and let that shit fall away.
Well, that's why for me, I can't sit on investments. I have to spend it investing in myself and my knowledge base, trying to make sure I have something that's valuable in the future rather than just like holding something valuable.
That's really how you should invest in stocks anyway. You really shouldn't invest in things like Bitcoin and all the other shit coins. You invest in a company that you believe in, that you like their product, you think it's going to go somewhere. That's smart investing.
Nancy,
Bitcoin and all that shit is gambling at this point. Like where we're at right now with it, it's just a
long-term investment for sure.
Yeah.
Or not even investment. It's more of a hedge. It's actually, that's what they say. It's not really, you're not buying that to invest. You're buying that to have something of value if the dollar crashes.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, if the dollar crashes, I see that kind of cascading into everything else, like we've been saying.
Yeah, if the dollar crashes, then the economy fails, then anarchy happens, the power grid goes down because who's controlling that?
Right.
Where do you get your Bitcoin?
What's your website? You can post your website. I'll put it up.
Yeah, then Bitcoin
come
is
up and hang out with us. If you want to
Yeah.
sponsor game night, let me know. Get you on the game board. I don't know if you've seen it, Nancy. I almost said cheers before I started putting these eye drops in. Do not ingest eye drops, guys.
Yeah, I think digital currency is the dumbest thing in the world. It doesn't make sense to go to something that's not physical or like tangible. It's something that you can actually trade hand to hand.
Here's your big.
Yeah, when the grid goes down, now everybody is on the same level. You know what I mean? We don't have anything. Nothing you worked for means anything at that point.
Yeah, but in the Great Depression, paper dollars weren't worth anything either.
Yeah.
Another way to control you.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think money is the root of all evil, because with the absence of money, you would still have trading and things like it just means it stands for something. And similar to guns, in that guns are the fastest way are usually a faster way to kill people than something else. Money is just a faster way to transact, which also means faster scams, faster bad stuff too, right? Everything is a little bit easier.
The phrase is the root of all evil.
I can see that.
I think that's actually where it comes from.
Oh, you're too dark in there. Okay, all good, Nancy. So it's nancysown.com. Okay. Oh yeah, nancysown.com. So I assume it's seeds because you said you made the money off seeds. That's cool. IP is my only asset. Just keep adding to it. Yeah. Or you mean, are you saying it is or IP? Oh, auto seeds. Okay, that's a different process, I think. Anyway, I'd like to travel to other countries and stuff, and it's weird because you might go there as an American and feel like, oh man, everything's so cheap here. But if you live there and you weren't on the resorts and stuff using their currency, you wouldn't feel the same way. Like if you go to Jamaica, you can go to Jamaica with $500 American, and you can live like a king for 6 months. But if you go off the resorts into the dirt roads, off into the sticks, then like you're not, everybody there is in poverty. They say not to leave the resorts. Man,
Yeah.
my fingers.
Well, that's what's fucked up. Everybody's like, yeah, Jamaica's beautiful. I like all that. It's like you've never actually been to Jamaica. You've been to sandals. Like,
Right. You've been on the sand in Jamaica, but not like to see the people.
Yeah.
Has anybody here traveled?
I've never been off the East Coast other than Illinois.
My only I have two stories. One, both military related, but I went to Ireland once, and that was on the way home from Iraq. We were there for 8 hours. My eye is just burning. We were there for 8 hours, and there was a gift shop and there was a pub. So I got to experience a little bit of like exchanging dollars for euros, like the exchange rate and everything. It was like way more expensive. What, Val?
At the airport?
Yeah. That's all we got to do. They closed everything off, and so we got a pub and a gift shop. And the gift shop had these chocolates that were like chocolate covered cherries, but they had alcohol inside the chocolate ball.
Oh yeah. Liqueurs.
Yeah, yep. And then but more importantly though, my other story is in Kuwait and Iraq. If we went to like a bazaar or a shop or something like that, they actually would get upset with you if you did not barter with them. And I am not a barter type of person. We'll say hint, hint, nudge, nudge, wink, wink when I was younger, and maybe some friend might have possibly needed a little bit of medicine from myself, and maybe I was possibly going to give them the medicine in return. I wasn't trying to like nickel and dime them. I wasn't trying to do the up and down thing. I'm not going to tax you so that way you can try and get a deal from me, and then we're back to the square one. Like, but then I had one friend that just always, no matter what, had to get like a $5 off, had to get something.
That's
like,
me.
Come on, man. Like
that's why I love the boardwalk, because I always tell all my friends and everything, you don't ever pay full price on the boardwalk.
Oh, Timothy lived in Europe.
Like my favorite thing to do is walk into a store, ask them the price, and then throw them what I want to pay for it.
What happened?
Dude, I walked out of this store with back when like the spice was a thing, like all that stuff. I walked out of this store with a hookah, a nice hookah, a carrying case for it, a T-shirt, the coals that went for the hookah, a T-shirt, a glass bowl, and a $30 pack of that spice. Paid $60 for all of it.
So, would you say though that those people remember you for just trying to get something, or were you like slick about it, where like you made them feel like you guys are friends and all?
I was ready to walk out of that store like 10 times, and they kept offering more. Like,
yeah. You were going home with it.
Yeah, we have a gas station that got took over by the Indian people. We call it Dot Mart. Locals call it Dot Mart. Okay,
Becca, you better be careful. Okay,
bit racist.
Just saying, Becca. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to be offensive in no way, but that's okay.
That's what they call it.
Never mind.
I get it.
I forgot.
I'm trying to protect you from.
I appreciate you, Waylon.
You know, but yeah, they took over the mart, and now they have what, like they have a lot of
like
babes.
he was saying, he just get more and more things up on the counter, and they'll just keep making a deal.
Oh yeah, they do like making deals for sure.
Yeah.
Well, that's where
They're
they were
cool.
part
I
of the
like it
Silk
going in
Road.
there.
I mean, those people have been traders for
Yeah,
God. Look at
forever. And you know, the
Forever.
store's cool. You go in there, and there's these old wooden cases with glass, and she'll hand you keys to open up whichever one you want to open up. And
Oh,
it's just
wow.
got all kinds of interesting stuff, but still, it's a gas station. You know, you can buy cigarettes and pop and gas. And,
It's funny how all that gets mixed together now. Like we don't like we have you guys have Kroger's where there's a Kroger's gas station, and it's a
Yeah.
weird gas station where like you're not going inside or anything. Or like a Costco. We have a Costco here, and I go to Costco because the gas is a little bit cheaper. And mom. Oh, hi, cat. Oh, I didn't know you had it. Hey,
Hi, kitty.
did I know Bean had a cat? I don't know. And you know, it's funny, little P from the corner of my eye. I thought you were petting a cat down there, but you're down there grinding.
He doesn't have one. He's cat. He doesn't believe in
okay.
pet ownership.
Yeah, this isn't my cat. I don't have a cat.
Like
So you
he's
didn't just pet
here.
it.
We
Guess
don't
what?
know.
This-
That
that's
cat
thing
don't
knows.
know that. That cat has you.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Dee's cat.
Yeah.
I told her
Feed
if
it.
she wants a pet, that's her pet. That means don't ask me to feed it. Don't ask me to change the litter. Don't ask me to do nothing. I will if I feel like it. I notice it's out of food, whatever. But
But now you are
not my
feeding.
responsibility. And if it was up to me and she didn't love it so much, I would open the door.
Oh.
Okay.
I wouldn't make it leave. I would just
Right.
give it a choice.
My cat wouldn't go outside. Like you open the door and he like he
None of my cats go out.
Yeah, she takes him out on a leash. He makes it out to like where the road is, and he darts back.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
Freaks me out, huh?
That's why we call them scaredy cats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing
Well,
about
it's unfamiliar.
with the economy. We have become so not used to, but so spoiled, I guess. What did we used to do when, say, our job sucked or we weren't making enough money or anything? We used to pick up and we used to move somewhere that had better opportunities. Now we're so stuck in the fact that why aren't they bringing better opportunities to where I'm at? And it's like, well, maybe pop your head up and look around. I mean, I'm actually thinking about West Virginia, man. That West Virginia is looking good to me.
This country was built on leaving, dude.
But I'm bringing the work though, Becca. What I do can be done anywhere. I just want the land and I don't want to go to Texas or Florida because everyone's
here
there.
you can get cheap. Yeah.
What'd you say, Bean?
Oh, this country is built on moving. Like that, like
really.
going and finding what, like, you don't just sit still, but like
Go
more
find your dream.
recently, it's not like that. Everybody's just a plant.
Well, think about it though. We've had generations and like a dozen or two generations of history where our families are and stuff. And a lot of us know that we've moved away from family. But like most of my family's all in Illinois, and so most of my family isn't going to leave Illinois. When we might move all around, a few hours separated from each other, but generally still in Illinois. Not because we come and visit each other either, though. So that's the other weird ass thing. It's like, I might see you once a year, but I guess if I moved out to another state, I may not see you at all that year. So
yeah, I think I'm the only person in my family or like my direct
Nancy.
circle of friends that has moved out of that county. Like,
Yeah, much all my family's here, and my cousin moved to Alabama, and that's kind of crazy. Her mom's like, I miss her all the time. So,
well, yeah, but you gotta
that's why we
fucking
stick
you
together
gotta
because family.
chase something. You gotta do
and
something.
it gives you a reason to go on vacation. And honestly, vacation can be expensive, but going to visit someone is not the same as going on vacation. So like you could literally pay for like a Greyhound bus to go. I can visit you, Bean, and I could probably stay for. I couldn't stay very long because I have responsibilities here, but I could probably go visit you for $100.
Yeah,
You know,
I've been here for over 7 years. It is the cheapest vacation to Florida ever. You can get a flight here because I live in a major city. If you fly on Frontier Airlines, it's $25 one way. You can fly here and stay at my house. I've offered this to my whole family. You
Is
know how
that
many
with
people have
luggage?
visited me? Fucking none. Nobody comes. Don't expect them to get a vacation out of it. They're not going to come.
Crazy. That is crazy. I
Good
might
night,
pick you up
Nancy.
on that, bro.
Good night,
Yeah,
Nancy.
come on down.
Yeah.
That would be fun. You know,
I gotta go to the bathroom. I'll be right back.
that's okay.
I got
When you come
brothers,
back, I'm gonna take a
sisters.
small break. I'm gonna get some water in my bong and do some medicinal intake. What, Bean?
Yeah, I got 6 brothers, 2 sisters, fucking mom, dad, like fucking
Right.
a whole circle of friends. Like
And
it
you're in
costs you
Jacksonville, is
it
that
costs
right?
you $75 round trip, and
Right.
you stay here and whatever.
Is
Like,
that do you get to have
Okay.
luggage with that price?
well, you get a carry on.
Yeah.
So
That's it.
yeah, I mean you got to pay for the extra luggage, which they probably like bend you over backwards for, but
All
I
right.
won't need a shirt.
Some
I
place
just
you
need some
can't
flip
have
flops.
any.
Sorry, Val. Go ahead.
Some of those cheap flights you cannot have any luggage.
no, they allow you to carry on. That's what every time I fly anywhere, that's what I use, Frontier.
Mhm.
You get a carry on at least. That's
Yeah.
good.
And
I mean,
I don't
some
ever go
cheap
anywhere long
toiletries-
enough to need more than a carry on.
Sure.
Right.
Like what you could do is you could mail something to yourself before you go. Or me, I
Yeah.
could mail
Or
something
just
down there.
buy stuff while you're there.
It depends on the stuff.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, carry the stuff with you that's going to be expensive and just buy the stuff that's cheap.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
we
a
talking
smart
about
way to travel
medicines?
while we're talking about being frugal.
Are we talking about medicines though? As the medicines down there, or do I have to mail those to me?
Oh, yeah. But where are you going to mail them if you're like just going somewhere? Oh, yeah, come in here. What we were talking
What I'm
about.
saying.
Subject. I was off in the woods there for a second.
Deep in the pines.
you got a plug here, you remember?
I don't know what the hell just happened.
Get it, Joe. Smashing 22 grams of bubble, 11 grams in each bag. Oh yeah.
All right.
Oh no, I got a good connect
I'll be
here. But
having tonight.
Joe is concentrating hard.
Mhm.
Lisa's lit up. She's like, I'm doing dabs tonight.
Actually, I really probably should go.
Yeah. You're gonna do a few dabs with us. What are you talking about?
I have to go do my main hustle still tonight.
Oh yeah, it's gotta work. Yeah, I think as far as the hustle thing and work and stuff, like a lot of people spend a long time trying to get out of work, but it's like work is just another word for living. Like to live, you gotta work, and you may not have to work for a company. You may not have to like do a 9 to 5, but work is like
Good one, Joe.
same thing as struggling to live. You know.
yeah.
You got to have some kind of occupation, otherwise we feel really like back to that universal basic income thing. People need something to pursue. We need the ability to work, but the problem is we're starting to get to the point where we have less and less use for that bottom percentage of sort of use. They call them useless people. It's not because they're useless because they can't do anything. It's because they don't have any skills that a robot or a computer can't do.
Yeah.
And if you can't develop any of those, if you're just a McDonald's employee or whatever, you're probably going to get replaced. What do we do with all those people, Bean? What do we do with them?
So I always discuss the fact that I really don't like. I don't agree with minimum wage. I don't think there should be a minimum wage. I know that's a controversial topic. A lot of people get mad at me for saying that.
I don't think there should be either. Go ahead.
I think that a job is a negotiation between employer and employee. When you raise the minimum wage, you take the bottom rungs off the ladder. Now those people that are unskilled laborers, the people that would have been paid whatever to crush boxes at a moving company,
zero, right? More than zero.
Now there's a machine at the moving company crushing boxes because they're not allowed. Not only are they not allowed to pay you, you're not allowed to accept that money. So they're telling me what I'm allowed to accept for a job. So if I wanted to go get paid $5, I'm not allowed to. Like,
I mean, do you think it originally was for good reasons though? Because we were getting exploited a lot of times, and like the minimum, these companies like Better Business Bureau. Did you guys know that it costs money to be in the Better Business Bureau? Did anyone know this?
Nah.
How effed up is that? For the longest time as a
And
kid,
then you get a bad rating.
Yeah, up until like a year ago, I didn't. Well, actually, no, I didn't. I just found this out a few months ago. But I thought the Better Business Bureau, I thought it was legitimate. I thought it was a good thing. I was like, all right, cool. You can find a place. You can go complain to them about a business. I never did it, but I thought, okay, that's a cool thing if I ever want to check out a business. But then I find out they accept money. So it's basically the same racket that certified organic is on farms. Certified organic. It just means that you paid for the thing.
I just think it's weird that in a time when the economy shifted, where now the employer actually does have the power to negotiate, like the employee, not the employer, the employee does have the power to negotiate because the employers are looking for people because they have fucking nobody. At that same point in time, they raised the minimum wage to exclude the lower rungs on the ladder. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, they end up with two overqualified employees.
Yeah, it's weird how that.
I ran into that when I was still looking for jobs in the last couple of years at a time when the COVID was the strongest and everything, the lockdowns and stuff. I was looking for work, and it's like, if you are overqualified, they're afraid to hire you a lot of times because, for one, I mean, there's some superficial reasons like the manager doesn't want to be replaced immediately. Yeah, that's the other thing, Val, is they don't expect you to stick around, but the manager's like not trying to hire their replacement either, you know.
Yeah.
And that can be tough, man. You can't sometimes sticking out is not a good thing at a new job or whatever.
Yeah.
You ever been in sales, Dean?
When they passed that NAFTA back in the late 90s, early 2000s, a lot of businesses out here in America going overseas and into Canada. And now you have all these people that are in the service industry.
Like Kim was saying, that's why we're so connected. We should, if we didn't do that, we wouldn't be so connected. That if we're so affected by every other country, if we weren't so interconnected like that, then we wouldn't be. Like, have you guys heard how Hungary, the country Hungary, it closed its borders and is not letting any refugees or any immigration happening or any of it, and they're trying to go backwards and like become self-sufficient or whatever. I don't know if it's possible now. We're too connected. The internet's made it so like made us go insane.
Right.
I think they're gonna eat up all the food. They're hungry, aren't they? Never mind.
I thought you were going to say Becca's from there, but
Hungarian citizens came to the United States in the 50s, early 60s.
They were hit really hard by the Syrian refugee crisis. Yeah, they had to stop. Yeah, they had to stop taking in people because it wasn't. And part of it was like, hey, we can't even help our own people, so we got to stop this. But, you know, we talked about people who just want a virtue signal, and sometimes governments are just doing that. It's very easy for a third party to spend your money. That's what the government.
All our government's doing right now.
Third party. They're a third party. If I was to say, Bean, I owe you $50, man. I'm gonna hand it to Kim. Okay, Kim's gonna hold it for me. You know, she'll get it to you when she gets it to you. You know, that's the government. Like, we're giving them our money and then hoping that they spend it the way that we want them to.
Yeah.
Kim, you got my money?
And you know what's funny? I always thought this was funny.
There we go. That's the government.
There you go. Celebrities who talk about like paying the fair share and stuff, taxes and all that. People that bitch to each other about taxes. You can literally pay more taxes to the government. If you're some rich person that thinks everyone should pay more taxes, you can be the first. You can just
you can do it.
Just do it.
Go right ahead.
Write the check. They will not send it back.
They won't. You're not going to get any kind of feather in your cap for it. But yeah, you're not going to get. That's why I think charity is a good thing. I think community. I think church is a good thing. Other than, there's a lot of twisted churches. I think it's much weirder when a place has like one church and it's the only church for like 100 miles than it is for like a town that's got multiple churches. Because I feel like the multiple churches keep each other in check a little bit. It's almost like different branches of government. If you only got the one church for a long, long way, that church is probably a cult. or maybe like really weird, or maybe they like stick snakes on each other or something. I don't know. Listen, I think universally we are allowed to make fun of that church that sticks snakes on each other. I don't know what it's called. I forget what it's called. But I'm pretty sure all of us are allowed to make fun of that one. But
yeah,
you get my drift though. Like I feel like church and community is connected.
They just handle them.
Well,
but it sounds funner when you say they're sicking a snake on them.
The way that society used to be is that when a person needed charity in their life, they reached out first to their neighbors, then to the churches usually, and then you would start reaching out to like a government body. Like you wouldn't do that until you've touched your local community first, and like there was a lot more charity in the community until the welfare system took over, and they said the more the government puts in, the less charity puts in. You know what I mean? Like
exactly.
If the government says I got you, why would you're
decentralizing the charity. So what you're doing is, and I don't mean charity as in like a charity, but like the act of charity, you're decentralizing it, which makes it a disembodied, a blurry image, daddy government up here giving me the check, rather than us talking to each other, talking to our neighbors, talking to our family and friends in the community to get that, to lean on each other, to get that help. We don't have to do it. So therefore, I don't need to bother you. So I'm going to just take the check.
Most people don't even know their neighbors. Like, honestly, I talk to the one right here, but other than that, I live in a apartment complex, like it's condos. So it's like, it's not a building stacked. It's a bunch of them separate. Right. But, I don't know anybody except for the one that's attached to my right. So like, I've been considering like we have a pool up here. I was thinking to like passing out flyers, like to have like an end of summer, like get to know your neighbor thing. But like, there's no sense of community like that anymore, where you feel like you can reach out to somebody if you need help, or like if somebody reaches out to you for help, like, do you trust them? Do you even know them? Like,
I tell you what, I bet you
it's a bit of culture shock when I went to Helene's, and it's not really culture shock, but it was interesting. Okay, because she's in a condo complex thing with two out there. Okay, and it's really nice. And I guess there was a big layoff out there from State Farm, so her son was laid off. But so all these immigrants of Indian colored people. Kids were all outside playing, and so were the adults. But where was all the white kids? I know they were there. It was very strange. It was like all these people are outside playing, but where are the white kids? I was like, it was weird.
I did the same thing. I used to be a courtesy officer at my apartment complex I used to live in for 10 years. And there was a very large Indian population. And a lot of them lived there to work for Caterpillar. And they also would get together and you got to imagine, like, it might seem like a lot of them when they're all outside playing, but to them, like, they're in a foreign land. They don't have a lot of connection. So they connect with each other in apartment complexes, especially, because it's super, super easy. And what they would do is they would come out and do sand volleyball. And there would literally be like 30 people on each side of the net. And
it was interesting.
Yeah, so that you're not going to see, and actually there would be a few white people come over there and play with them, and like I don't think there was anything saying that you couldn't, but you just don't,
I think that's with a lot of cultures though. When you come over here, like I know, like with the Romanian culture, like that's where my girl's from. her parents were born there and she was born there, but they like sponsor people to come over and like they get into communities together. Like they like like especially apartment complexes, like you said, like they can move a bunch of families in there and they can all have community together and feel like they're home in a sense. And there's a community like that of like an Indian community over here. I did the DoorDash thing and I just delivered there the other day and it caught my eye, but like it was like a whole community of them like in the same apartment.
They're cool because they're out there playing games, you know, and then you had your little kids with the bikes, and it was.
I know Russians are like that too.
And
like
other people were walking, and it was just awesome.
Hey, listen, Kyle. I don't agree with that, Kyle. They
Oh,
say
that's
all of us came from the cradle of civilization, Kyle. Even you indigenous in Canada, Mr. Kyle.
Yeah, but they were here longer.
Hold on.
Well, what's your parameters then? He says everyone's refugees because they've been here, but what's the time that you have to be in a place no longer, you know, like how long? Because if it's only been a few thousand years out of the planet's billion years or whatever, like several. I only say that because everybody's offsprings of European. So are you, Kyle. I'm going to make him mad. Sorry, Kyle. Kyle's a security guard, and he also just won 10 Gs. So he could probably fly down.
Yeah, you need to take a few hits today.
The world could use a donation, honey. I got moving to do.
Well, it's Canadian, you don't want maple leaves. It's okay.
Like green and red money.
I'm just kidding, Kyle. You know me by now.
Yeah, loonies and toonies.
But yeah, I actually don't think we started in Africa either. I think that was when we restarted. You guys don't agree with my cataclysm theory, but
I think
I actually
don't they say everybody has a trace of African?
Open my mouth because
they do say we all have traces of the same DNA from that area. Now, when we say African, but it's just like at that time it wasn't Africa. It's just like we're all.
But yeah,
it was just that's where we were. So it's pretty interesting though, man. Like when you think of like Mesopotamia, and you think of what were the people in the Pangea continent? There was like they were like there was like another
people they found.
No, there was another. They believe that people at one time were basically all about the same, like very homogenous, like we were all very similar looking. As far as, but we all
I would imagine so.
Kept moving out away from each, further into different areas, and that's why I think we might be our own aliens, you guys. If we ever see aliens, it could be humans that were able to escape, 30,000 years ago, and they're out somewhere else, evolving a whole nother way. Anyway, sorry not to take it back to that, but it's fun. It's fun conversation because
talking about them stargates, aren't you?
Well, when you look at the macro conversation, it can make your little life and your little, worries and your little problems seem like nothing. And that's what I like about it, because it's like, yes, am I the first person to ever be worried about turning 40? No. Am I the first person to ever be like, I mean, I'm not really, but what I'm saying? Like, am I the first person to have like existential crises or, midlife crisis? Am I the first person to have a bad thought? No. And I think we all can get caught up thinking that we are the worst person that ever lived, and we just did something that's so terrible. And it's like, just give yourself perspective.
Right, we have to talk to each other.
Exactly. That's what people in the box do.
Communicate together.
Yeah.
In our community.
Exactly. Communication is like what we were made to do. Like, if not that, then what? Like, yeah, we breed, but is that the only two things? I think humans are the cockroaches of the planet. Oh, I meant to bring up my shirt earlier. I thought about when I started the show of just saying, I'm not arguing. I'm just explaining to you all why I'm right. Europe has beautiful land, and so does North America. Yeah, I mean, land. Look at Hawaii. Beautiful but deadly, guys. Man, it's been a terrible. Like I never imagined that place ever having anything other than like maybe like a not a typhoon.
Cyclone?
Well, I don't think they ever get
Typhoon?
typhoons. Maybe do they get typhoons?
I don't know. I can't remember.
No,
Where?
what's the hurricane?
Yeah, they get
Tsunami?
hit by cyclones and well, over there in
Cyclones,
that part
hurricanes.
of the world, it's cyclones, not hurricanes.
Well, those are the things that you would imagine, right? Like Gilligan's Island scenario, but you don't imagine being trapped with the fire, man. Like my heart goes
That
out to
was
those people.
a horrific
But-
thing there, and it is extremely suspicious.
Well, yeah,
You
it is
know,
for sure.
it
But
is
my whole
so
point by bringing
fucking-
that up is
oh.
that the island literally grows by I forgot the number, but it ain't just a few feet either. Every year the island grows because of the volcanic action that's going on, and it's insane how that. Do I think Donald Trump started the fire? Is that what you hear? What you're hearing up here in Canada?
That land isn't usable for
It's
thousands.
always burning since the world was.
Thousands of years, you think, Val?
Yes, sir. It's just lava rock until, nature happens.
Right.
Hmm.
You can't even walk on it.
You can't even walk. You know what? I gotta look this up, Val. I'm sorry.
Go for it, honey.
When did Pompeii happen? Like the Mount Vesuvius erupt?
Yeah, when was that?
That was in ancient times.
A long freaking time ago.
Yeah, ancient.
That's the eruption of Vesuvius. I think it is. Might not have been Vesuvius, but one of those volcanoes is what they suspect caused Atlantis to disappear.
Was it Mount Etna?
I don't know. It was one of those volcanoes. I can't remember. I saw a documentary where they were talking about it, and they kind of excavated the land, and they were talking about, like, you could tell like where water levels, and you could tell by the destruction,
Geology's telling a lot.
like artifacts and stuff that were splayed, that it had whatever it had hit the island, it had devastated it, like kind of like a tidal wave, or not kind of like a tidal wave. It was a tidal wave.
So here you go. Based on the cooling rate calculation, it could take roughly 8 months to 1.5 years for flows of these thicknesses to solidify. Solidification of flows ranging 20 to 30 meters or 65 to 100 feet thick could take about 2.5 to 6 years.
So then how long can you walk?
I wasn't talking about the solidification. I was talking about that land being usable, like for farmland or.
Well, I mean, but if it turns into rock,
whatever.
you could build on it, right? You could build on rock.
Good luck with that, honey.
We do now. It's called like foundation.
I'd like to go see an erupting, like a volcano river. Like
It's very uneven.
Yeah, you're right. It'd be tough to make it worth anything. Like you could pour cement over it to make it flat.
Sure, but that'd be cost non-effective.
But it's cool that the island grows and gets bigger, though. I think that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, you could do like China's doing, and just taking materials and start building man-made islands in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah.
Hi, Todd. Ty, I'm sorry.
They're building land out.
I was putting his name
There's
together.
no new land to find. We'll build some.
Ty, do you want to come up?
What?
I mean, that's kind of what the Aztecs did.
Plastic waste island. Yeah, you can make an island.
Well, they didn't make it out of plastic waste.
Well, I was just reading Ty's
Oh, there
comment.
already is one of those.
Oh yeah.
Ty, I'll give you the link, bro. If anybody up on the screen wants to link their account,
Mexico City was built on a lake. The Aztecs, they built all these like floating things, and they filled in whatever, and that's how Mexico City was built.
So they found, was it in China? I forget where they decided, or was it Japan maybe? They started growing rice, and to save land, they found that you could just float. You could make these floats for the rice and float it out on the open water rather than having to take up land to make the patties. And so now they like have like a lake or something like that. It's aquaponics. That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's literally that's all they're doing. Because I don't know if you've ever seen like rice patties, but they put fish in those sometimes.
Yeah.
Right.
swimming
Yeah.
around and
For
everything.
fertilizer.
Yep. And so now they don't have to take up the land anymore. Send it to me. Yeah, I got you, bro. You guys send it to you. It's in your inbox. Maybe I will. Well, it's all good. You don't have to. We're coming up. We're over the 2-hour mark already, but still got 5 people hanging out on the Rumble. What's up, Rumblers? Hit that Rumble
that's
button for me.
cool, Kyle.
My father's side grows wild rice on the Ontario Lake. Yeah, isn't that cool? Yeah. So I was like, man, I could come up with an aquaponic system to have rice like a nonstop, like an assembly line, like a long skinny trough. And you'd have rice being planted at one end, harvested at the other end, and it'd be a nonstop every day.
That'd be cool.
Or corn or anything. Anyway, don't write those down. I'm too high. I'm telling you my ideas now.
What China is doing is destroying. Well, they're destroying the world, but that's a whole different topic for another day.
But I
want Facebook users to expand a little bit on that. I mean, so I heard some compelling arguments, guys. I think we might be a little bit in our bubble where I'm a patriotic guy, but looking at some of the hybridization that China's doing with the way their economy is and whatnot. Hey Ty, what's up, brother?
What's up,
Ty?
It's interesting to say the least. Just to look at the way they're implementing capitalism in a controlled sort of manner. Now I'm sure they got corruption over there just like we do. I'm not saying I like anything about their ideology. I just like the fact that they are over there trying to promote good things that are inspirational to their people. We know this from TikTok. I mean, I'm sure they're doing it from many other things, but they were found legally that TikTok was promoting an algorithm in America that was just debaucherous and just insanity and trippy stuff and just insane things. And then over in China, their young people, their algorithms are purposely pushing up things like, this 9-year-old, on the piano, or like some, gymnast or somebody doing some, heroic act or whatever, athleticism, all these things that they push and it's sort of this subliminal thing that's going on.
But China was pretty much built on not built, but because they've been around long enough to have been rebuilt and rebuilt and rebuilt. But like the newest regime in China is pretty much built on the back of a slave race of the impoverished community. You know what I mean?
So are we, guys. Not that we're built on the back of slaves, but the fact that slaves still run the world. Do we know this?
But I'm saying they're impoverished, their poverty, their people in poverty over there are pretty much enslaved. You know what I mean? They're working for pennies on the dollar.
Exactly. They also have real slaves, the Uyghur Muslims over there. So we over here take advantage of all the good pricing and stuff and the cheap deals. We've heard about it with Nike and whatnot, the sweatshops. But we're still too comfortable to give those things up, man. Our cell phone should cost like $3,000. Our food would go up, all of our stuff would go up if we truly didn't have any of that running the planet still, which is really sad. I mean, they're the ones that's doing it. They're doing the dirty work, but what would we do if they didn't do it? You know what I mean? It's kind of sad.
We live within our means. That's what
I would hope so. Yeah, man. I'd love us to get back to that. I'd love us to get back to producing our own everything, whatever it is. That's what I'm trying to push. Do it yourself, because that's the only person that you can.
I mean, actually, without it, maybe corporations would start paying people what they're worth, and they start doing the work again.
I agree, man. I think we could uncouple from some of that, some of the evil that's being done on the planet for our good, and actually do things that make sense, spend our dollar correctly, like the government, $600 for a toilet seat. What was that, 20 years ago? Now it's probably $3,000 for a toilet seat or something. Who knows?
Retarded.
Just that kind of stuff alone could actually fix. But it's interesting to think about the control.
All the other countries, they could make sure every fucking American was taken care of.
So do we think freedom is the problem? Freedom actually allows for us to let in the corruption that we've let in.
I think
Like,
greed is the problem.
well,
I think
you have
is
greed
the problem,
anywhere,
and
though.
control of
I think
people.
you're going to have greed in
And it was a big old
anywhere.
plan installed back way back.
Well, if we weren't relying on other countries and all that stuff, we wouldn't be. They would be able to shift the number, the arbitrary number they have on this dollar we have, because we wouldn't have to compare it to the rest of the world. We would be self-reliant, and then we could actually like raise our economy and like it.
Yep.
The problem isn't really corruption within, like, I wouldn't say the corporations. The corporations are doing what they have to do. They have to raise the bottom line every so often, like,
They're
and that's
incentivized
how
to
capitalism works. It's the government gets to put this number on this dollar that we have, and they get to tell you the value of it, and they get to print as much as they want. But we don't get to. We don't have a say in that. It's like the only reason that money has any value, because it's not backed by gold anymore, is it's backed on our trust that when I give you that dollar, this is what it's worth, and the government gets to decide that number.
You said all that was right except for one thing, that the government decides. The Fed decides our value of our dollar, and the Federal Reserve System is privately owned.
Well,
it's not owned by our government. Once again, it goes back to the corporation. There's no man. You can Google, a short Google will tell you who owns our private reserve. And it's corporations, bro. It's big guys. Period. It goes back to the corporation. It goes back to the corporation who sends all these jobs over in China because he don't want to pay the American worker $3 extra an hour to do something that's worth $15 more than they're wanting to pay.
I mean,
It's
they're still
a
making
pattern.
record-breaking profits, and they raise
That's
the
why.
whatever to whatever. Okay.
Yep, that's why.
Inflation and wages have not kept up with each other, and they
But
did that intentionally.
The value of the currency changes based on how much of the currency exists, how rare it is, how, you know what I mean? How that's what a value. That's where you get a value from, and the government gets to change that number every time they print the dollar.
Right.
So when they sent out stimulus checks to everybody and their brother that didn't really need them, and while
They
it like
have to pay that back.
that's more money just getting printed and the value getting changed, and we don't get to change that value. Like, we don't
But
have
they keep doing it. They just keep doing it. They keep doing it. But you know, to get to the power, you follow the money. And honestly, like, the Fed decides our value of money, supposedly. And if they're privately owned, dude, then who is really making that decision? The government, the people we voted for, or the people that own the money?
Well, the
So
investor.
I would push back a little bit. I would say that you're right as far as control in this environment. But when you look at the greater flow of people and the planet and everything, it's sort of like I've talked about this before with technology. We find workarounds. So we've got crypto, but we've also got more people are getting precious metals than ever. People are purchasing assets and things. I think people are smart. Okay. There is a percentage of people, and it might take a while, but you start to see people figure out workarounds, and that's through small business, finding the digital economy, finding ways to make money, whatever it is. But we find workaround. Now, I think the workaround is to look at the global economy, because there are things that you could do you could actually purchase. You can purchase money in other countries that's going up in value and make money. Like, there's things that we can do, and it's like we have to get out of the mindset that the dollar is almighty. The whole almighty dollar thing, because we have there's a conglomerate of other countries right now. You got, I think it's China, Syria, I believe Iran, and I want to say North Korea. They're working together to build a new currency that's backed by oil, since they have most of the control of it now, to basically destroy our dollar and get rid of it. Do we think we would just we wouldn't just not exist anymore? We would have to start buying money from other countries, and the way we buy it with our resources, So it's just it's a cyclical thing. I don't think you can get rid of money, but at the same time, you can't think of it as money. You got to imagine it as the thing that it represents, which is your time and effort, man. Like your time and effort. How much are you getting out of what you're putting in? And sometimes it ain't worth it.
That's
more often it's not worth it.
I mean, that's what I was saying earlier, but like the employee does have the control now. Like you do have the power. You can go in and negotiate now, and you can get paid what you're worth. Like, and most companies are looking for somebody, and you go in there and you fucking negotiate. Most companies are willing to negotiate because they need people. They need good people that want to fucking work.
To a point, but then you got companies like HSHS St. John's Hospital here in Springfield who just laid off all their top tier employees. Every one of them, all the big doctors, everything, and hired a bunch of kids that just started doing what they're doing.
Oh my God.
They just did that, dude. Nationwide, this system is 20,000 some employees just in Illinois alone.
Yeah. I mean, some companies fucking suck. It is.
Company honestly pays you what you're worth. At the
Yeah, I was
price of
talking about
inflation, you should be making $40-some an hour right now. Minimum wage.
Well,
you still got to compare it to the demographical average and everything like that. So
okay. Let's break it down to a smaller level. It's real easy to be upset at the guys at the top, like the big businesses and stuff. But when Bean and I were just talking earlier about like on the small level, Bean says, well, I'm always going to haggle for a few bucks off or whatever. Well, that's what the big businesses are doing to us as far as our labor goes. They are just trying to get away with what they can get away with. And that's human nature. Right? So we have to be, we as in each person themselves has to be their own advocate to go like, you know what? This company sucks. I'm out of here. Like, you know, and
you know what
hard,
the biggest lie,
it's hard to walk away from a job. You guys all know.
You know what the
man.
biggest lie a company is going to tell you?
What's that?
You're not allowed to talk about your pay.
Right. The sunken
cost fallacy
is huge too.
You should always talk about your pay. That's that's the only way you can negotiate. If I don't know what everybody else is making, how do I negotiate?
Exactly.
I agree with all this, and that's the way it should be, but less and less it is. And I'm sorry, Waylon, the blame goes straight back to the corporations.
I don't think that's
they're just people still, right? Like, so
I don't think that's true.
They're going to try and get what they can get.
But this true. What you said, that part is true. But when the balance of power is so far out of balance, the top 2% of this country in wealth have as much wealth as the bottom 40%.
Right.
That is way out of whack. Way out of whack. And it shouldn't be that way in a true, free, and democratic society.
Yeah, but you can't force people to be more productive at the bottom.
That's how it's always going to happen. No matter what, there's always going to be somebody that's going to, even if we evened all the money out right now, there would always be a richest guy, and he would just keep getting richer. The top one would keep getting richer, and the money would keep flowing in the same direction.
Let me blow both your minds. That does it only until what ends up happening. And I'm about to ask you guys a fucked up question. Do we think civil war is coming?
Yep.
Civil war, revolution, collapse, all these things happen when the stuff that we're talking about, Ty, like we wish it would be better. The only fix for that, the only way that any system becomes better that's this far out of whack is through something like that major.
Normally, you're right, but I don't think it's going to happen in America because I think idiocracy is
strong. No way it can.
It won't be. It won't be a physical war. Yes, it can.
Not in the sense that you're thinking of it, as in historical sense.
Like a North versus South anymore. That's not what it would be.
And it would be factions.
We have to remember, guys, the Civil War, it wasn't every person in America. It was a very small amount of people in the country fighting against each other. And the same thing with the Revolutionary War. Right. So when you look at what could happen, a lot of people say we are in it right now. Think about the culture war. Think about our ideologies bashing into each other right now, where there's a lot of physical fights going on. You got Proud Boys, you got Antifa, you got blood in the streets, you got different people taking over zones in America, literally taking over a space, saying this is our autonomous zone now. Like that shit.
Would you call that
you won't know about it. You won't know that you're in it, Bean. That's the thing, is that you won't know until like the history books will say, oh, back in 2020 is when this.
Well, the thing is, the way that I see it is that the technology's gotten so strong that they've passed laws that allow the government and whoever wants to look into your business. How do you communicate? How do you build a militia that can communicate big enough, a big enough militia to take on the government that can actually communicate without them knowing everything you're talking about?
They wouldn't take on the government. That's called revolution. The government will most likely collapse because of all of it's built on a house of cards. It's built on garbage now. That's been years and years of corruption and all these backroom deals, all this crap. So when that collapses, it's going to be a power vacuum, which then, and I'm not saying that's what civil war would be. That's what would happen if the country collapses. Now, revolution, on the other hand, would be where we actually somehow are able to stop this whole uniparty thing that's after us. That's a different thing. But civil war is a whole nother thing that can happen whether the government wants it to or not. We already have warring factions that it's happening. We could be literally in it. We could have been in it for the last few years.
And that's what I think if it happens, it will be as multiple factions.
And it's digital. It's not necessarily guys in the field shooting each other. I mean, they are in the streets doing some of that, but you know what I'm saying?
I guess in a sense, when they look back at this in 30 years, they might call it a civil war.
Or a light civil war. I don't know. I guess it's something different. It's different.
The Battle of September or November 6th or whatever. What day was it?
January 6th. Oh, actually, February 28th when the Capitol was first rioted from the other side, but we don't talk about that.
I mean, I agree with you that that's how it would be if we had a civil war, but I'm sorry. I think more than half of this nation is blind.
Oh yeah, they wouldn't be in it. They wouldn't even know.
Brainwashed. Yeah, they would have no idea to fight anybody other than to bow down.
So in other countries where there already are conflicts, like this is a third party story, but Tim Pool used to go to like war zones and report, and so he's talking about how he'd be in the middle of a war zone, bullets flying, and he'd go into the Starbucks, and everyone's sitting there sipping their coffee and like nothing else. It's kind of like in the Civil War where you'd have people go out and watch the battles. They'd be in the fields watching the battles and stuff. Like we will have, and it happens right now. That's why I can say this for sure. In countries where there's war happening, we will have people that just go about there every day like nothing's changed. This is me. I'm going to work. Drive through the war zone to get to work. Like it's crazy that people. It's because they're trying to remain the normal. They're trying to keep this semblance of normal so hard that they can literally see bullets flying and be just
and normal. The wild thing is technology allows us to see it, and we've been sheltered for so long, but technology allows us to see it because like the TikTok videos of the kids over in Ukraine in the blown up buildings, like be like, this is where I used to play and stuff, and like
news would have never got that close back in the day.
The apartment building. You know what I mean?
Would have never got there back in the day. So technology allows that. You're right.
Yep. And then
it allows us to actually get an inside look.
And I think that's a great thing in a lot of ways. I think that through technology, there's been a great awakening. Like you was mentioning earlier, after COVID now, people are out here and actually demanding some better wages for this hard work they've been put to. And I love these kids out here doing it because we should have done it a long time ago.
Not enough people are doing it though. That's the problem.
Like I gave an example to somebody the other night. My father used to work for Oscar Mayer in Beardstown, Illinois in the early 80s. I remember him working there for a good 10 years or whatever. But back then I remember he made around $25 to $30 an hour or somewhere in between there, right? For the same job now that Cargill organization owns, starting wage is $14.75 an hour.
Wow.
It's just a big difference. And you know how much cheaper stuff was in 1980s?
That's crazy. Like
for the same job, a loin cutter on them pigs. That's the same job. It's $14.75.
Like we were talking about earlier, you got to get up and go find something else.
That's the thing. You got to keep adapting.
Not everybody has that option, though.
No, you're not wrong. But we were talking about this earlier, how it used to be very much more commonplace for you to pick up and move, even across country, just for a job.
Yeah,
We
facts.
just don't do it as much anymore, and maybe we do. I mean, as far as big corporations, they'll hire you from across country, but like we get so stuck in where we're at, you know.
Yeah.
But also actually, I meant to talk about this earlier when we were talking about reasons why we don't talk to our neighbors anymore and stuff. I like to be devil's advocate. I pose that it's because we have too much entertainment these days.
Might be some truth to
Yeah.
that.
Too much
And we're
entertainment.
addicted to the internet.
It's not
Might
just
be
that;
some
it's
truth
that
in that.
every extra moment in our life can be taken up by that. So you might have your absolute have to do things, but you might a lot of things. I'll tell you, when I was going through my depression, when I was much worse off, I didn't have any money to speak of, so I would just computer games, zone out. I'd bootleg everything. I'd watch all the movies. I'd be able to just take myself away and never have to worry about it and just be gone. And not have a life. But
Yeah,
that
kids don't know what it means to be bored.
Not really.
Well, boredom is when you get outside and like work on a project, start building this, start fixing your house, start cleaning your house. The cleaning of the house is something that went by the wayside for me. Like as a single male, you know, the whole bachelor pad thing, dishes, all of the chores, man, goes out the wayside when you maybe no one's around, no one's making you do things. So,
speak for yourself, Waylon.
Well, I'm not a young bachelor anymore. Now I'm an old bachelor. So I mean, you know, still the same difference. But
I always found my house to be messier when women were in it.
Really?
A lot of times, I'm telling you, because I'm one of them people, though. I've always kept my house spotless. And
Mama Rochi, what's up?
When you get 5 kids, then it don't happen.
Women
Share
like
us out, guys.
That's what it is. They just keep getting more things. Y'all see stuff you like, and you're like, "Oh, I like that. I'm gonna get it."
Guys need basic shit, dude. A chair to sit in, a bed to sleep on, a TV to watch. And it would be all right.
What I'm getting at, though, is like chores. Sorry, go ahead, Bean.
You see it, and you know exactly where it's gonna go, and it's like, if I was single, I wouldn't have nothing on my walls.
I don't. There's nothing on my walls except for this wall.
Yeah.
The only wall. But what I was saying though is that you
in cages.
I just lost it.
Right.
Not it.
Oh, with the chores and stuff. My point was like that was what we used to spend our time on, like taking care of the farm, taking care of the house, taking care of the car, all these things that now are like it makes our normal chores seem like much more extra chores because not just entertainment in general, but like the extra, even spending a few minutes scrolling. Like you may not suck in for an hour on Facebook, but even a few minutes, but throughout the day, it might have still been a 2-hour period of time or whatever. And that might have been the 2-hour period of time that you were like milking the chickens and, you know, plucking the cows or whatever.
Have any of you ever looked at your
the chickens and plucking the cows?
I do not want to look at my screen time on Facebook. I do not want to look at that.
It's upsetting.
Well, for me, it'd be my whole phone because I'm going through a bunch of apps and I'm like, all right, well, check this one. All right, check that one. Oh, is that a new one? Oh no, it's in the same one. Let me move. It's like, all right. So that alone, and I feel like it's work. I feel like I'm like networking. Some of it is like really keeping up with certain people that I need to keep up with, and that. But that's taken me away from doing my own oil change, you know, taking care of my own, like building my fence that I need to build. You know, I got to chop down I got some trees to chop down and stuff, like taking care of the homestead. I'm mostly behind the computer, you know? So I see it, man. I feel like the things, if you made a list of all the things that you were supposed to keep up with in 1 year, it would be impossible. All your computer, like say if money was no object, all the computer maintenance, all of your car maintenance, all of the house maintenance, just maintenance period alone, like your home maintenance, like all those things, man, all of the checkups and the warranties and all that stuff, man. That alone is enough to make you go nuts. That's why a lot of people are comfortable in an apartment where they can call maintenance. Hey, my dishwasher's doing that thing again. Fix it. That's pretty nice, but that was a draw for me. I was paying double in an apartment what I pay here in a house, but you get that comfort of I can just call the office. They may suck, but maybe you're just like you got on enough about it and they'll fix it. So there's so Ty, have you heard about the whole like the World Economic Forum, how they want you to be there's a phrase that says you will own nothing and you will be happy. Is that along the lines of the like your socialism idea? Is it similar to where people don't necessarily need to own things if we just all own everything?
Well, first, let me say I don't necessarily subscribe to socialism.
Okay.
Okay. I do believe that socialism in forms has been present in America for a couple hundred years now. Stuff like unemployment and social security are forms of socialism, amongst many other ones that American has. So to get past that, I believe a combination of socialism and capitalism can make the greatest country in this world. And that's my personal belief. But it has to be a combination of both. You have to take care of the people who can't take care of themselves. They have to have a living standard that all people have to meet by the government that we vote in to do such a thing. You understand? And that's never going to happen.
I think the digital economy will help people who are much less able physically. So think about, okay, right now it already does. Think about like phone centers and people that can do that or work on websites. But in the future, we'll have like Neuralink. So you'll have people even like who are almost not able to do anything. But in Neuralink, in the virtual world, they're in there selling houses or, working for a corporation or whatever it is. Like that is an interesting fact of the digital world. We're talking economy. The digital economy is a almost unlimited space of growth.
True.
Because you can literally sell digital assets. You can sell digital assets. Like right now
digital land.
Games. Yeah, there's video games where the players like you can purchase a planet in the video. There's this video game. It's like $100,000 or whatever. You can
purchase your neighbor's garage and shit.
You can purchase a planet, and then if a player comes to your planet and like say uses your shops or whatever, then you make real life money.
Yeah.
But it costs real life money to buy it and stuff. So like there's this exchange between digital to the real world that's just going to get bigger and bigger, and it's almost infinite, which is kind of funny.
I think if it gets that far, that would be great.
Yeah,
but honestly, I disagree with you. Yeah, I disagree with you on the digital currency taking over or anything of that sort. The almighty dollar has hundreds and hundreds of years behind it. And
you mean a physical currency,
and the people who started that physical currency, who took us off the gold standard the first time all the way to the last time. Yeah, I think there were 3 times, those are the same people that are in control of our banking systems and such right now. The same people by the same name.
What do you think happens when that person dies? Like say whoever's in charge right now, do you think they're able to like pass on 100% of like their thoughts and ideas to the next person? Or do you think it's been being bastardized for hundreds of years? Like imagine the Illuminati or whoever you want to pretend is controlling the whole planet. Like
I don't really believe in the Illuminati.
Well, right, but like that's just like a quick word to like give people that idea. But like, what do we think happens to people in power as they die out?
I think their money goes to their descendants, and it goes on.
But then they bastardize those plans and ideas. Like, there's a term for this. Like 3 generations, I think, is all it takes for wealth to go from someone who worked hard to build up this great company to then passing it down to 1 generation who sort of keeps things sort of running to where like they're still making money. And then the 3rd generation usually just fucks it up. They take it for granted and they just run it into the ground.
So I believe that counts for people like Bill Gates or Elon Musk. I don't believe that counts for people like the Rockefellers or the Rothschilds.
That's what I wonder. Like, what do we think they do? Like, they must have like
they make our money.
Well, yeah, but they're not running a business though. They
They don't need to. They have the they make the money that runs the business.
They've got so much money. Like they're too big to fail at this point. They have all the money.
Money so old, it's got white hairs.
So Tim says that they ingrain it in from birth.
Yeah, they do.
I
With their
still say
descendants.
though that next whatever the next generation is, there's a change, man. You guys know how like the younger generation always says like the older generation doesn't know what they're talking about. That whole trope, you know. Like,
Yeah.
it's so interesting to me to think about controlling organizations that may have controlled us from behind the scenes for generations. Like I wonder, you got to wonder.
That's why they have big families with a lot of children, because
you gotta
like
find
just
the one
like,
that's still decent. Like
yeah, just like
literally.
That's how
Literally.
Trump got power, because they tried it with his older brother. He was a dummy. Then his other brother was, I think, going through something at the time.
Fred.
So they put Donald in place.
Yeah.
And that's
what
how
all families should do. You have a bunch of kids. Hopefully, one of them turns out good. I mean, that's kind of.
I mean, it's a tradition as old as time, though. Royalty's been doing it for years and years. The same fucking thing, man. Keep it in the family.
Yeah, you pick the best of the litter.
Yeah.
Convincing poor people to not have
the one
kids
that had
is
both ears.
Yeah.
We need more kids, not less. I'm gonna say it. I'm just saying it. That's just my
You're here.
my
I
opinion.
agree.
We might have a lot of kids in bad situations, but that's
What's
always
up,
going to be
Brennan?
a thing. I think we need more good families to have good kids. I wish I could get to that point, but the internet stops us, man. You can't even get past a conversation in text form these days to get to that. So it's just not,
Yeah.
They've got us down now. I personally am against abortion. I think if you take it away, though, people still do it back alley, throw themselves downstairs. I mean, it happened, but before.
Are you against it in all cases?
I'm against the government subsidizing it. Period. I don't think the government should be. Their hands should be in it. Period. Either way, one way or the other. Up, down, left, or right.
But if not government regulated, then what happens? Then you get somebody who goes
not regulated.
and
They
clinic.
subsidize it. They subsidize it.
Well, with subsidization comes regulation from the government. You know this.
Okay, but not everything that's regulated is subsidized. So you could still regulate it without giving our money to it.
But I agree with you on that. But I agree that abortion should be allowed in cases of rape and incest and stuff like that, because there's just too many other factors.
Yeah, that's a pretty
behind
big one.
1% of.
It's a very small amount, but still, I don't disagree. That's fine. A lot of people tie, and I've heard this argument before, where a lot of people will give you that. Okay, let me give you that. Every situation of that, great. If we could somehow know for sure that's what's happening, that will give you that. But those are people that those are people that want to argue against abortion. I'm not arguing against abortion per se. I'm just arguing against our tax dollars going to it.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
But on the flip side of things, some people are arguing against churches getting the tax exemptions, because a lot of churches do that in order to game the system.
I'm one of them.
Okay. So like, do we think that loophole is something that is good for our economy, where like anyone can make a church of anything, the church of the
no, that's not. No, churches should be taxed just like any other business, because that's what the heck they are.
The reason,
right?
The whole purpose of separation of church and state is to get the church out of the government. It wasn't
not
about
for them to not pay money.
Word God out of school. It was about getting the power of the church out of the hands of the power of the government out of the hands of the church.
So that we could keep freedom of religion. So that we could keep freedom of religion. Facts. But it wasn't for them to not pay taxes.
Right. I don't know. That decision was made before.
They're not paying a dime here.
I wonder if like they could just make it harder to become a church. Like, I don't know how hard it is now. I guess you can be a church of almost anything.
It's a meeting of 2 or more people, isn't it?
That's called worship.
Oh, that's a different thing. My bad.
Hey, I wanted to say this though. Back to the abortion. I know women who would come up here and tell you don't have a fucking say as a man.
Yeah,
I disagree.
Period.
That doesn't make sense.
There's Val right there. She's saying she's one of them, but I know a few of them that would say that. And they'd argue with you about why.
I love it. But I got one simple reason why I do have a say, and I would just use a statement to say this: if there was any other source for men then we could say that. But the only source for more men is women. So we have to have a say. Like there's no other, if I care about more men, if I care about men in general, or even other women that are unborn, if I care about that, then I have to, I have to care about it. And we all have a say in things that we care about, right? So if you're a global warming alarmist and you care about the planet, then that's why you have a say in it. You're into it. You're someone who's
right. And you can care about it in a general sense. But sorry, my body, my choice.
But,
I don't agree with that statement, but I knew there's women like that.
Wow, that's a different discussion, but we can get into it, man. I mean, I'm all for it for sure, but
it's a tough subject, guys. It's a tough subject. So if you do, please, everybody.
As long as nobody gets mad.
That's why I brought it up, because I know females who would come up here and argue with you all night about this subject.
Yeah, but has anyone ever said my argument on it? Have you guys ever heard anyone say this? There's no other source for more men, so like we have to.
No, I've never heard that.
Like,
I get it.
What do you argue against that? What's the counter argument to that?
I get it, but is there another source for more women? Is there another source for more women?
Yeah, they're in control. They have the doorway to more people. So
how? With what? With what? No, I understand what you're saying.
Uterus. That's what.
Yeah,
I understand, but that uterus cannot produce a child without a man.
I agree.
Yeah, but that doesn't.
So
that's
so
just trailing off from one topic to the next. That's not really justifying the thought. Like,
no, it's justifying my belief in that the man should have a say whether his child is put to death or not. That's where I'm going with this.
100%.
Like it takes both to create. Though the woman carries it to term and deals with all the complications that come with pregnancy and such, that gives her a little more say if we're keeping track of the record. I still think the father should have some say on whether his child is put to death. Let it be born, and the mother don't want it, then the father takes it and takes care of it.
So if they can charge the father child support, then I agree, which is the case. The father can be charged even if it's not their kid. If their name's been put on the birth certificate, the judge will say sorry.
That's facts. If you sign that in the hospital, done.
If I'm legally required to pay for the child, then I should have a say in that in whether the child's alive, right?
Vice versa. You got to pay for him when he is alive. You should have a say on whether he stays alive.
There is no way to standardize any of this, because there are too many men that are sperm donors and all they want is a roll in the hay, and then they don't want the consequences of that roll in the hay, and then they drift off and do whatever, and the woman is stuck with it.
And this is the consequence, abortion, of that right there. Abortion is the consequence of that type of stuff.
It's not the only consequence of it.
I don't think that it's
I sit here every day in my classroom and I see children who are products of that kind of mentality come through my classroom who don't have parents that give a flying fuck about them.
Right.
And all kinds of shit. And that's what's going out into our society. So there's a lot of consequences to children.
It's a vicious cycle.
Well, to unprotected sex. Yeah. To premarital, to unprotected, to underage, all
and here's the thing. I'm probably older, maybe with the exception of Val. Val might be my age. I'm older than the majority of the rest of you guys. I'm nearly 60. Okay. And so I grew up in a generation where men, because my father was one of those men, divorced their wives. Wives didn't have their name on the house, didn't have their name on the bank account, didn't have a credit card, weren't on the fucking car, didn't know shit.
Yep. My mom was one of those women.
And didn't have to pay child support. And it was up to the woman to figure it out.
But it doesn't have to be a sad thing.
What about today, though?
Let's lighten the mood a little bit. It's not a sad thing.
The thing
if we think about, hold on, let's think about the macro for a second. What have I said many times? Hard times make hard men. Yep. Hard men make easy times. Easy times make soft men. Right? We're going through the cycle. Right? Hard men are coming. Not until we have some hard ass times.
Yeah.
I'm not
Can't we
saying I
say
want that.
people?
History
Well,
repeats itself.
human, men, like man, human.
Okay, man,
Humankind.
not men.
Humankind.
It's
Mankind.
a
Well,
saying.
the
It's a saying.
the plural of man is men, but yes,
Mankind.
the all people. Can I say people? But I was referring to a quote which says hard times make hard men. That's all. That was
Right.
part of the quote.
And it's true. It's true.
yeah.
And also, you know, a quote I remember just made me think of is young men fight wars while old men sit back and plot them.
Yep.
And it's history repeats itself, guys. Everything that's happening now has happened in another place at another time in another fashion, maybe, but the end result was the same.
Well, and that gives me calm. That calms me a little bit
Me
because
too.
I don't have to worry. I don't have to get so tied up in the specific names of people, the evil that I feel is in the world, which I think you can't get rid of. It's a yin yang. It's a back and forth. So you have to, if your awareness alone. Now, I want to go back for a second. Trista made a point here. She said, women, I've never known this. It was kind of cool. She said, bone marrow of two females can create life. I've not seen any kids made from that, but it would be interesting to find one. But that, again, just proves my point that women hold the keys to human life. So if men, as a, like me, I don't know about you guys, but I think of the human race. Like I think of 1,000 years from now. I think of 1,000 years ago. I think of it all. Maybe my anxiety shows you that. But I care about people in general. I care about where we're going. I care about, like, I imagine cool things to happen in the future if it can. We don't fuck ourselves, right? So for me to care about the future of people, I got to care about people. If I got to care about people, I got to care about where they come from. And it's not just, coming from a stork from heaven, Then we'd be like that. What if so do we think if it was really a stork flying down with a baby, the stork would be like, my baby, my toy? The stork could just drop the baby from high up in the air because he's like, hey, it's in my custody.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Right.
But listen, guys, I know it's an
Okay,
emotional
women.
thing. That's why I take emotion out of it. I look at logic. I don't think our dollar should go to something that's so divisive. Period.
Well, I
Better
disagree
stop.
with you on that. I'm not particularly pro-abortion. I don't think that, people should be allowed to lay with whoever and then,
no
have
consequence.
abortions,
Right.
using it as birth control. I'm not down for that. I'm
I
a
don't
Christian,
either.
and I have
I'm not either.
beliefs related to that. But I do at the same time, where I come down with this, and I can't have kids anymore. I had a complete hysterectomy in 2011. But you are not going to tell me what I can do with my body. And that includes suicide. If I decide I want to die, and that's what I want to do, that's none of anybody's business. That's my body, my choice, what I'm going to do with my body. And
But you
nobody
don't
has a
talk
right to
about
stick their nose in my business.
Wasn't that funny though when COVID was in full swing and the right started using that argument? Was like, hey, listen, the vaccine, fuck you, it's my body, my choice. Well, one of those two sides makes a little more sense to me, myself, my opinion here. One of those two things has separate chromosomes, separate DNA, separate. There's a lot of argument to be said that it's not necessarily your body. It's not a lump of cells either. No one knows no one can decide when life starts and all that. The heartbeat seems to be the most popular thing. That kind of makes sense to me. A heartbeat. Go ahead.
I can tell you that life is not viable until a certain point in time outside of my body.
Yeah,
they've made a baby in a artificial womb, even like they can put them on machinery.
Then if you want to take that baby,
what do you mean by viable though?
Growing in my womb and stick it in a test tube and do whatever you want to do with it.
It can breathe on its own.
I don't care. I just,
okay.
If I've decided I don't want it growing in me, I don't want it growing in me.
Okay, so would we agree that if it's possible to save the child, that should always be the option, whether the mother wants the child or not? Like adoption should be the
who's going to take
first
responsibility for it? Because the other side of the coin is that
what about the full-term abortions that are due?
No.
Yeah, there's got to be a line. Full term, after term, they're like up to and after abortion, after birth.
I don't think it should be able to be used as birth control. If you have a serious issue that's going down like medically or something like that, then that's one thing. But it shouldn't be just. I mean, when it was first brought up and like they made laws about it, it was supposed to be safe, affordable, and rare. It wasn't supposed to be just like out celebrating. Oh, this is like mainstream. That fucking. Oh, I got 7 of them now. Like, I mean, it's so mainstream that it's like shout your abortion. It's a horrible thing to do. Like some people have to do it, and I don't think it's something to be fucking celebrated.
Everybody has a side, though, B. Everybody has a side, and some people feel stronger about their particular side than other people do.
Yeah, but when you
Everybody
celebrate,
has a side.
you make it seem like it's a good thing, and then it could lead somebody astray that might just be having a bad thought here, and they go do something horrible, and then they end up with people said about postpartum depression. Could you imagine regretting that?
But if we think about it, and you're honestly giving a true thought to it, the flip side of what you just said, maybe that experience allowed a young lady that would have ruined the rest of her life to go on with her life because she saw this person celebrating it and she went and got rid of one. And she didn't have to stay in an abusive relationship. And there's a million other connections I could put to that to say could be some good to it as well, if you honestly have an open mind about stuff.
For women,
I don't see good about ending all this.
for women, and I'm going to say most women, having a child traps you in a particular lifestyle. It traps men too, but it does it differently.
Well, can we say what it is, though?
Men, and this
There's
is what
2
I
million
told my
people
son.
looking.
This is what I told my son. Son, when you get married and you have children, you make sure that you're set with whatever career it is that you're going to have, because once you have a child, you're not going to be going to college. Your priorities are going to shift away from you yourself and to a family. So men get trapped by having children in a different way than women do. Women get trapped because women are typically the ones that are the nurturers, the caretakers, and do all of that stuff. Not to say that there's not men that don't do that. Not to say that there's not single fathers that don't do that.
That's what they're more natural at.
Typically, women are the ones that get trapped in that.
They are more naturally the caretakers, yes.
And if you have a girl that goes out at a young age and gets pregnant,
made for.
She is trapped for 18 years or longer.
Not necessarily. I mean,
most of the time, not necessarily, but
I'm living proof right here.
The
No, because
of females that get pregnant and have
I understand, but if you don't actually want the child, then there's 2 million people on the waiting list right now for newborn
and do
babies.
you know how long
less than 1 million
kids
that
sit
actually
in
get
foster care until they're
I'm
adopted?
talking about newborn babies, like infants.
Yeah, he's talking about newborns, though.
I'm talking about infants when you first give birth. When you first give, like, if you realize you're pregnant, you don't want the baby. Instead of saying, I'm going to go terminate this pregnancy, why don't you say, I'm going to go find a family that wants a baby, because there's 2 million people out there that want a baby right now.
How many people want black babies?
I don't think most people really care nowadays.
They do care.
Yes,
I don't.
They still do care.
I don't.
Statistics.
I don't think
virtue
I think
matters
people are using
matters
it as
none
a
to me.
really more than anything. So I think they're more of a
and the other thing
A child's a child. The color don't make a difference to me at all.
It doesn't to me either, but there's a lot of people that do care. And I'm
Virtue
telling
babies,
you that the
yeah.
biggest
They
share
want
And I'd like to punch those people in their face.
unadoptable in our society are black children.
I mean, that's statistical facts, Kim. That's what you're saying. That's a statistical fact.
Good night.
So it is true what you're saying. I'm not disagreeing with that at all. I'm not disagreeing.
The
I'm
other
just
thing that you run into with some of this stuff related to adoptions is like you get these I shouldn't call them pocket, but I'm going to call it pocket because I don't know what else to call it. These pocket cultural things like Native Americans, you cannot adopt 9 times, as far as I know, you are not allowed, white people outside of the Native American culture are not allowed to adopt Native babies.
I don't know.
That I do know, because I have a lot of friends that are Native American. I know these issues. I have like a background in sociology and all kinds of stuff. So I've studied population data. You know, there's all of these like little nuance kinds of things out there, you know,
Well,
and
to me, the whole medical
a lot of
situation.
kids that are not white that do not get adopted because there are not families out there to adopt them. And white people, most people typically want to raise children that look like them.
That's pretty natural, but I would say there's a lot of designer baby, virtue signal babies from celebrities, but they only want them if they're from Africa or from some other country or whatever. And like, there's a lot of that. Just Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt and all them. They want to have these. They want to feel good about it.
It's just another way for them people to stand out. That's why they do that shit.
But I want to point out what Bean was saying, though. What he was saying is a lot of kids are in the foster system, yes. But what people are on the waiting list for are they want to know the baby's still cooking.
Mm-hmm.
They want to know it's still in the oven.
It's just like puppies and kittens.
Yes, they want to have the most fresh bundt cake as they can have.
But there's even people that pay for it.
The more influences and the bad behavior and somebody else's values that you're going to be raising.
Now, I would say I want to say this: an abortion is just like our medical system in that we give too many band-aids, we give too many after the fact corrections rather than when you said a baby, I was saying let's call it what it is. When you have sex, not when you get pregnant and get stuck or what we were saying, like what'd you say, like locked in or stuck? I can't remember the word everybody used.
Trapped.
But yeah, trapped, right? Well, no one, men lie to get laid. Women are lied to make them think that they should be okay with being promiscuous these days. I know women that are totally okay with having a child with someone knowing they're never going to stay with that person because they want to have a child. Now,
I seen a saying once that goes right along with what you're saying. It says women where men lie. God damn it! Never mind. Go ahead.
Okay. I mean, I think all people lie to get what we want.
I'll remember.
We've been tricked into thinking that Uncle Sam will take care of us. The welfare system, the third wave feminism, first wave was good. We needed it, and then you get to the point where there are people out there who are still yelling and screaming for things that are actually hurting women, like. First of all, we're finding out birth control has done a lot of harm to tons of damage and problems with reproductive systems and all sorts of mood issues, sex drive, all that stuff. So I don't know what the answer to that one is. Go ahead, Ty.
Go ahead. It came back and I lost it again.
Man, you guys, it's been a great.
It's been a great talk. I tell my students, write it down so you don't forget it.
Or not smoke so much weed. One of the two.
No, you know what? I was just gonna say that as you started saying that, it's not the weed, guys. I watch big podcasters and they will have brain fart just like we do, and they don't smoke weed or nothing. Like Tim Pool is not. He doesn't drink alcohol or anything, and he has brain farts just like we do.
Well, the AIDS then. We'll blame it on the AIDS then, damn it.
Well, you're on the camera, like when you're on the spot sometimes. That's the hardest time to remember anything.
Yeah, and if you trail off from it and come, then you lose it sometimes.
I remember again. Listen. Men, you motherfuckers.
Trista, come on up.
I'm sorry.
Men lie. It was something about men lying to get.
I know. Hold on. All right, I'm just going to take you out the headphones, and then I'm going to jump on and interrupt whoever's talking when I remember so I don't forget.
I got it.
No.
He's got to turn around.
Hold on.
For a second there.
Okay. I got it. All right. Men, all right, wait. Men believe what they see, and women believe what they hear. That's why women wear makeup and men lie.
Huh.
I don't believe a damn thing I hear. You better show me. Like, you sit there and you
Action
say
speaks
something,
louder than
I'm
words.
going to sit there and I'm going to watch you walk that walk. And the minute that don't measure up, I'm going to say, you're as full of shit as a Christmas turkey.
Well,
It's
you're
not, but
you're a woman
statistically,
of worldly experience. You know better. So-
that's why if you look at dating apps
I have
statistics,
watched people all of my life and gone, huh, that's interesting.
Uh-huh.
if you look at dating app
Around
statistics,
me, you bet. And my students will tell you, don't lie to Miss Axel because she knows when you're lying, and she'll sit there and she'll smile at you the whole time you're lying, and then you'll eat your words.
Well, there's some guys out here that lie so well they would eat you alive, Kim. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to tell you the truth.
Oh, sweetie, I did online dating for a number of years. It's like
I was just bringing that up, man. The men swipe 700 times, and you might get a hit. The women, like, they have 700 guys in their inbox, and like they can't even find you in there. You're somewhere they're buried deep.
They got major choices.
I think it's like they did a study. It's like women swipe right on like it's like 7% of people, and men swipe right on like 95.
What's up, Chris?
Krista.
So
hey,
let me
right
ask you
before
this.
I joined, you guys were talking about the whole women see or women believe what they hear or something. There was a meme I just saw the other day, and it was like men believe what they hear because they have two heads to think with, and women believe what they are told because they have two sets of lips to speak with.
Ha! It's another way to say it, but I like it. Think about it.
Do you women think that women are happier now that they are sort of encouraged by, now I wouldn't say by themselves, but by like the machine, encouraged to be out there and working just as hard as like being a big corporate, like by society, like the whole, like being like, we need more women corporate leaders, we need more women everything at the top. Like, are we happier now that we've got everybody in one place? No one's at home with the kids.
I feel like from like a personal perspective, like I was in a situation where I was kind of forced into that homemaker kind of role where it was cooking, cleaning, taking care of the kids, having kids. Like I didn't leave the house. I didn't do anything outside the house.
Force kind of makes
it came a point where it was more stifling than anything. I wasn't going to get the enjoyment out of it because I wasn't doing something for myself. My everyday was based off of what I needed to provide for everybody else, whether it was my partner, a neighbor, my kids, whoever. And I feel like, obviously there's a huge drive with society's demands on people and whatnot, but I feel like a lot of people have gotten to a point where they're just so tired of being stifled and shoved into a box that they were never asked to put in. They didn't want anything to do with. That's not even their type of box. And you just get to a point where you realize growing up, we a good portion of us had mental illnesses, excuse me, ADHD, things like that. And when we were younger, it was always you're too dramatic and get control of yourself, and everything was in someone else's control. And we had no control. That's why we were irrational and emotional and dramatic and this and that. And then as we got older, we were just so sick and tired of not having any control. And like for myself, being in a relationship like that for so long with all of the things that followed along with it, it became a point where I didn't know how to exist other than what society was demanding from me, because I was like, okay, well, at least somebody's giving me instructions. And then I just got to a point where I was so sick of that. I was like, you know what? No, I want to be able to wake up in the morning and know that, the food on the table is there because I fucking worked for it, because I went out and made that job, because I got that promotion, I got that raise, I did that. I had control, and I kept that control, and I in turn gave that power to my kids as well by showing them that, like, look, there was a point where I did not feel like I was fucking anything, and look at me now, I'm a fucking CEO of this, or I'm running this corporation, or fuck, I got out of bed in the morning and had a shower. It's super different for everybody, but I think it's a huge thing where people needed to be reminded that they did have that concept of control. We were allowed, and we were fully capable of it from the start.
I go back to entertainment. Think about the Wild West, the 1800s. You taking care of the people around you was all you had, even for everyone. no matter who it was. Like the man, like he spent all day trapping or hunting or whatever. I mean, and because it was dangerous, you know, like he may not come back. It's like you got to have someone back at home to keep somebody alive. Like I don't know. I mean, it sounds horrific, but that's the kind of thing that will happen if we were talking about the economy crashing and that kind of thing. So it'd be Wild West in a real quick hurry, more or less. So those things.
I'm ready.
Right. I mean, you know, and a lot of people fantasize about it. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I've had that that post-apocalyptic thought, man. Yeah, you know, I get my gear and just like the bug out. You know, I'll build my tree house out somewhere. Like, you know, that sounds fun, but you know, most
It's
of us
it's not even a fantasy for me, honestly. I'm society in my life built me for that very thing.
I don't know.
A lot of us still are.
I think most people that think they're going to survive it won't. I think the inner
I
city.
agree with that. I totally agree with that.
Well, I think there's going to be a lot of candy asses that die real quick.
But I think the inner cities are going to rush out into the suburbs.
You think so highly of your physical not so highly, but like people can't take into concept their physical attributes. Am I going to be able to have, you know, my cardio or whatever? Am I going to have my survival backpack? You don't think about what it fucking does to your brain that entire fucking time.
Yeah.
Like the world is silent, or as silent as it can be in that post-apocalyptic kind of world. And you're left with no vices. You don't have a choice. It's not wean off this. It's not I'm going to make this choice. It was ripped the fuck away from you. Right. And now you have to figure out how to fucking build an IKEA furniture that has none of the correct pieces and no instructions.
I will say it again. My life built me for that type of life. Literally, the things I've went through in life and survived and come out on the other side, I've seen people that did it with me that ain't here no more. Whether they're not here in their mind or they're dead, they're not here no more. They didn't make through the things I made it through. Life's built me for that type of life. I'm ready. And I'm just old enough to know how to go out and hunt and fish and forage and survive for my own. You know what I mean? I'm just old enough to have obtained that knowledge before generation after generation didn't know how to do it no more.
I think this screwed me in, like, mentally and whatnot. Like, I could somewhat handle myself in a situation like that in terms of, like, doing my gathering and using my instincts and stuff like that. I think a huge thing that makes me second guess it right now is that my brain is so washed with the common courtesies and the etiquettes that we have and stuff like that. Like, I wouldn't hurt
you underestimate your own human ability to survive.
I don't think I could do that, or I don't think I could kill someone defending myself.
Sure you could.
Here, the way we're raised here, you're not allowed to defend yourself at fucking all for anything.
Sure you could.
Like, you have to wait for that, like, that brain click to go from what you've been taught and trained and conditioned.
That's true. That's true. And a lot of people wait to the very end. But as an example, if me and you were dating and I was on top of you, choking you, and you got to the point where you were almost passed out and you had a gun within reach, your human instinct would kick in and you'd pop my ass.
Fucking A.
I would probably see that's the thing though, is my self-defense level. It's more I'm not going to stop you completely. Like, I don't know without sounding awful.
A lot of people have honestly never been on the edge of death, so they can't say how they'd react. But
I would rather hit you with that and give you the chance to fucking hope to God you change your ways and you become a better person for the next person that comes along, because my ass is gone.
That might be training from previous relationships.
Like hitting someone and knocking them out over killing them to defend myself.
Not me. If I'm on the verge of death and I got ability to stop that by killing you, you're dead. I'm not going to hesitate one little second, and that's just human instinct. I am not going to let you kill me.
Yeah.
And no human does. No human does. In the end, when you're really faced with death, in the end, you'll know if that ever happens to you.
Had my back this many years, I'm sure they'll have me out there. You just have to talk to the bear, reason with them, make them understand you're a human and it's okay. You guys all have struggles in life.
Sure. I was always told to yell as loud as you could at the bear.
Yeah.
And make yourself seem big.
It depends which bear. You don't want to be yelling at the wrong bear.
Them white fucking privileged bears and polar bears up north, man. Yeah, they might hit you with the,
Twinks. It's the twinks that I can't talk to that much. Bears are
twinks.
I'm cool
The
with them.
twinks.
The bears are cool usually.
I don't know.
Fucking Waylon, what the fuck? Much love.
I mean, I got a few friends.
Hey, I must too to have even known what you were saying, doesn't it?
We all do. Like, who doesn't nowadays? Somebody's got friends of every type nowadays. Like, but I tell you what, we need friends of is friends that are in the financial sector, friends that are. And I tell you what, we've had this conversation, and it's funny that there's sayings on both sides of it, where you got to surround yourself with the type of people that you want to be or whatever, right? But then the flip side of that is that if you're not a rich person, then how are you supposed to get into that to be the type of person like you're the guy on the outside? Like, how are you going to get in there? Like, so
that's where the fake it till you make it comes in part.
I was going to say, you focus on yourself, you show the world that you're going to do it on your own anyway, and then you start attracting like-minded individuals, man. And that's that's what I've been on the track of. And some part of me tells me that's why none of my local friends that are within driving distance are hardly ever around. On this, because some of them are not the like-minded people that I'm talking about. People that want to have these conversations. Every one of us had differing opinions tonight, and I don't think it got heated even once. The only reason that it got intense because everyone wanted to speak at the same time, but that's it.
Just a little, but we're adults. We're all adults.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say it earlier. Like everybody was sitting on the screen, and everybody sat there with a smile on their face after a fucking intense conversation about like something that most people yell at each other about. And I just thank you guys for fucking. I think it was a good night. Like
that's why I made
all of you too.
That's the moment that I made this for, man. Because I've talked about it a few times, Timcast IRL, which is where they're all in the same room. There's like 4 or 5 people, and they bring up several different news stories of the day, and they talk about it and they divulge and they get off topic and all that stuff. But basically, they're doing the same thing where they're all sharing their opinions on the story, and then they can walk away happy. But here's the thing: I've had 2 or 3 people now on screen who now I'm no longer we don't even can't even talk anymore because they just can't handle hearing a different opinion, man.
Me too. Me too.
It's like
I lost a lot of friends, and I have a lot of friends also that I love having the argument with because it does get heated and we do yell at each other, and then it's like I fucking love you.
Right. See, hey guys. But if
that.
we could do this as a nation, what we did right here tonight, imagine the possibility.
Bro, let's get on board, man. I'm pushing this, man. We're going. The sky's the limit. It's episode 60 right now, and this is what we need in the human race, not just man, Val, but all humans. We need to be able to share our experiences, man. That's what gets. Oh,
hi, Chris.
She's still here. She got booped into the backstage somehow.
Oh.
Timothy is so funny if Elisa put on a unicorn costume. Yeah, like the furries, there'll be a whole furry nation.
No, they're
having a whole different conversation over there.
Yeah. Alexa.
The amount of things, I've had so many arguments with people where I would get called wishy-washy and the kind of person that could never pick a side because I just want to see everybody's perspective. Like growing up, I've never been based on one religion or one faith or anything like that. I'd go to all my friends' churches and go see what they're learning and what they believe in. And I feel like that's such a crucial thing just in humanity that we've lost is being able to do this, sit here and have what would be normally an uncomfortable discussion for other people, being able to say our pieces and not walk away thinking any less of each other or being upset about the situation. Sometimes you learn things, even if it's not to change your opinion or change your views. sometimes you're going to see things a little more open. And being open-minded to me has been such a crucial thing. And if people were willing to walk away from me from that, fine. Like, I'll be wishy-washy. That's fine. I'd rather sit here and have an open discussion and a debate with you on why you see what you do and why I see what I do. And I'm going to try and see your perspective. I'm going to hear you out. I'm going to be like, okay, well, like, okay, so from that perspective, I could see that or something like that, because it makes it so much better. Like, you're able to continue on and progress those communications further on.
I agree. It's absolutely crucial in my mind too. I have to be open. Even if I totally disagree by what I know of what you're saying, I'm still going to listen, because maybe you're going to say something that'll change my mind, because I am open-minded.
Always assume
it's happened a lot.
Too has something
learning. You never stop learning.
Yeah.
The second you force yourself to stop and you close your ears and you close your fucking mind, that's it, man. People need to start learning how to close their mouths and open their minds a little bit more, or at least open their minds before they open their mouths, because people are out here saying some nasty ass shit, and then 5-6 years later, you're seeing these content creators and these influencers being like, I apologize to this community for offending them with a statement that I fully believed and backed up. You said that with your whole chest without thinking.
Right. They do it all the time nowadays.
I don't care if I think the sky is green. It's going to piss somebody off. I'm not going to go out of my way to piss you off. If somebody's willing to have an open discussion on why I think the sky is green versus why they think the sky is blue, I'm going to sit there and have that.
Yeah. I'm game for that, but I am not discussing the flat earthers. I am not. I have no discussion with you.
No bullshit. Go into a flat Earth group and discuss that shit. It is.
I have done it, and I'm not doing it again.
For everything except what's up and what's down. They can't prove anything, but
all their logic is based on common man logic. None of them have any actual scientific knowledge of what they're saying.
So funny, like. No matter what you say, you believe NASA. That's their answer for everything.
There was one guy, I can't remember what his name was, but he did like an experiment to prove his flat earth theory, where he had taken, it was like 2 fences or like cardboard walls, basically put them at a really far distance from each other, lined up these cameras. And he's like, if the earth is round, which it's not, they are not going to meet each other. I will not be able to see that other light, and they will not be able to see mine because the earth is curved. He's like, but if it's flat, like I know it is, we're going to see that. And he whole-chestedly believed it. And when it came through that it did not work, they were both just below where they were going to be able to see each other. He sat there and he was just mind blown. And he was like, well, we must have done something on a different patch of grass, or you're on uneven land. And I was like,
well, he's got an old patch. He's got to get updated, man. It's a dome. It's not just flat. It's actually a dome.
Yeah.
Got one flat side.
Here's one thing I got to tell you guys. Take a picture of the sunset when it's right at dropping over the horizon at the last point. Take a picture of the sunset and use I'll have to tell you that, but pay attention to the light that sometimes comes into your picture when you take the picture. None of those lights are ever straight. They're always curved. When light refracts, it curves. When it refracts around the earth, when you take pictures from up there, it's a curve.
The dome's
curved. Yeah.
I look at a drop of water. When a droplet of water actually drops from whatever, it forms a ball. It
facts
goes to a ball. It doesn't like fall off into like weird, I don't know. It's
the earth is round. That's somewhat ridiculous.
I like the hollow earth theory myself.
Oh, the earth is hollow now. I don't think that's a theory.
I don't think the whole earth is like an eggshell, like a hollow egg, but it's like,
I even believe there's aliens living in there.
Inside there.
I'm stuck on the Marianas Trench thing. Like, I don't know if anybody here has watched the first Meg movie that came out recently, but their concept of the bottom of the Marianas Trench not being solidified, that it's actually just like moving sedative everywhere, and you can actually get through, or sediment, sedative. You can actually get through that layer with enough like protection against the pressure and all of that, and that there's a whole other fucking world underneath this level. And like, I fucking wholeheartedly believe that. I'm like, that is based off of something.
Now, wait a minute. How well do you know your American history, people? Because I don't remember his name. Maybe it was Bird, but there was a pilot it was a world famous pilot too. Like one of the first people to travel the whole world, whatever. But towards the end of his illustrious career, he started to believe that there was a hole down in Antarctica that he could go down. And he told people he found it and met a whole different society down there. They were humans.
Yeah,
and this was back in the 40s. I don't remember his name though. What did you say, Bean? I'm sorry.
They're saying the same thing about the North Pole now.
North and South Pole supposedly have hollow spaces big enough for spaceships to fly through, for ships to get through. And the thought is that anytime we've seen, quote, UFOs or been abducted or whatever, was really the people from inside the Earth that have survived through like ice ages and everything. And they're much more advanced than us because they never had to be busted back down to nothing. And so then they come out and abduct us every now and then so that they can test and see how we're how we are on the surface. Anyway, they say the magnetosphere is stronger in the center of the Earth. So those people down there are like giants. Okay. And that's where, quote, giants came from back when we had stories of them back in the day.
Rock
The beanstalk actually went down. That's the real story. It didn't go up to the sky. It went down.
Beanhole.
Beanhole. Whoa. Hey, touch my beanhole. What's up, Frank?
On that note, I do got to get out of here.
Yeah, let's wrap it up, guys. It's been we could honestly go all night. It's fun. It's definitely fun. I know
I
there
gotta
is.
go be a teacher at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, you know what, Ken? You never have to stay the whole night. I always would prefer if somebody has to leave that they say, all right, like they make sure that they announce like, hey guys, I got to get going. Because some people just boop gone. Like, just like shout something out before you go. Hey, follow me. See you later. Like something. But I'll end it with this, guys. I know for a fact that there's a big thirst for long form conversations. Not just like streaming, but actually having these conversations where it's set up ahead of time. And 3-4 hours, like I see big podcasts out there, 1 million followers and stuff like that do this stuff. So I know there's a thirst for it. And if we can keep having these conversations, it can only lead to better things, right? So thank you again, everybody, for hanging out with us. Kim, go check out the Legit Bean Review, guys. Go check out Fire in the Hole with Bean Dango and his bean hole. And then you got Biscuit down here. And then you got Ty. Even a broken clock is right twice a day. Man,
facts.
Why can't it be left? All right. Val, everybody. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
Peace and chicken.
Good night, guys.
Got this new outro I'm about to play. Thanks, everybody. That's not the right outro. I'm playing the right one. It's coming up. I didn't play the correct intro either. I made a new intro right before the show, and then I forgot to get it loaded, so I played the last week's
I like
one.
the piano music.
Huh?
I like the piano on the intro.
Oh, no, it's the same. It's the same. I had to correct the co-hosts and fix the video. Although
okay.
I guess after tonight I have to correct it again. Just me. Just be me.
Apparently. Where'd everybody go?
I don't know, but hey, thanks a lot, guys. We're gonna hit this. Actually, first I'm gonna play the Your CBD Store ad for my Rumble. It's got 9 Rumblers over there, guys. Rumble. This is one of my top sponsors here. Your CBD Store. My friend Matt down in Quincy, Illinois. Gonna play you this ad real fast. again. Here it is. Good night, everybody. Rumble. Hit that Rumble button, y'all. Hit that like button for me, please. Thank you.